Christian Miller.
It's time for the Miller's Edge with four-time SEC champion and two-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 1230 AM WTBC.
And welcome into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Hope you guys are doing great this morning. I really do. I hope you guys are doing great, man. We've had a very productive and exciting weekend. I'll get into that here in a moment. We all know we had A-Day. Hopefully a lot of you guys were able to make it out there. If you did, hopefully you were hydrated and were staying cool. Chase, it was a hot one, man. Really fun to be back in Bryant-Denny Stadium again. Was there last weekend for scrimmage number 2, but back in that environment, even though, you know, it's a scrimmage and it's not a full game, but it just kind of has a nice little feel to it. So that was really exciting. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I know I did. We'll dive into A-Day specifically. I'm going to give you guys my breakdown, whether you've heard it already or not. There's still plenty of things we can pull out of it. I've got plenty of thoughts. But over the weekend, I've taken you guys' advice. I know you guys really like when I come on here and do breakdowns or extra videos or extra content. So that's exactly what I did this weekend, man. I made it to A-Day. I immediately came back to the studios, the Lambrilla Law Studios here, and was able to put out a video, dropping my analysis. Then even Sunday, man, Chase, we went 2 for 2 over the weekend. I had an itch, man. I had an extra of a fire, a motivation, extra desire. I wanted to do even more, man. And I'll get into why I had a little bit of extra motivation this weekend, but immediately, man, went right back to work and we dropped a breakdown, a film breakdown of A-Day. We took that 6+ minute video courtesy of UA Athletics that consisted of a number of highlights. I think it was totaling around like 18, 19 plays. And I did a film breakdown on it, got to draw on the screen. I got a new software that allows us to do that. So I'm pumped up about that. Now, I did realize after recording this hour and 15-minute long film breakdown, hopefully, I promise we won't do more of it, but I hope you guys enjoyed that because that definitely took a while. I realized after recording that, Chase, that I forgot to go full screen while I was breaking the tape down. So I had the same layout like I do now. So you guys were really looking at me talk a lot, and, you know, the actual video was a little bit smaller. So I will make sure we get that cleaned up next time. We'll go full screen. That way you guys can really see the field. I don't think you really need to see me talking about it as much. Even if I'm just a small window, we'll get it fixed. But the good news is, man, you can always zoom in. So for anybody that was like, man, I couldn't really see too much. If you're using a phone or a tablet, just take your fingers and pinch in just like that. You'll zoom in and you can make the the field portion bigger where we're actually doing the breakdown. But we will be doing more of that. If you guys ever have any suggestions or things that you want us to take a look at, players. I know somebody mentioned going back and watching 2023 Washington and breaking down their run game. I've done that a number of times. Not, you know, I haven't posted anything, but I've gone back and watched it. So maybe we can do that. And then let me know if you guys prefer to do it live. Like if you'd rather me do breakdowns live, that way you guys are in the chat and you can ask specific questions. Or you like how I did it where I just recorded it straight through, no edits, no anything, just recorded it and uploaded. That's why you could tell towards the end of the breakdown, I was getting a little tired, man. I was worn out from the day before. Words were kind of getting all jumbled together. And I was like, you know what? It's about time to wrap this up. But anyway, we'll definitely be doing a lot more of that in the future, especially with the offseason about to come up. Now, normally, typically, A-Day would be the conclusion of spring. And we would be finished now. And we'd be talking about, all right, we're putting the pads away. What are we looking forward to? What do we learn? Well, technically, we're kind of doing that. But the football team isn't, because they've got 2 more practices left. And I think it's due to the Morgan Wallen concert this upcoming weekend. So maybe they had to shuffle some things around. Who knows? But might not be a bad, I guess, format, Chase, if you think about it, because we've got plenty of things to talk about from this spring game. Now, we're not going to overanalyze, over-criticize, or over-hype up things. But the good news is those coaches can go and watch that, even though they've had other scrimmages just like that. To really break down, but they had yet another one this past Saturday in the form of A-Day. But now they got 2 more practices to go back on the football field, not just in the meeting rooms, but on the football field and discuss it, to work it, to practice it, to get more reps with it before they truly put those pads away. But like I mentioned, A-Day was the big highlight of the weekend on Saturday. So we're going to discuss it. I'm going to give my thoughts. We'll hear from head coach Kalen DeBoer, not only, you know, his press conference following A-Day, but we'll get to hear from him live because he will be joining us here live for an exclusive radio interview at the top of the hour, and we'll discuss A-Day with him. But, of course, we're going to talk some football. I got plenty of questions that I do want to ask head coach Kalen DeBoer, And we'll do that here at the top of the hour. So make sure you guys are staying locked and loaded for that. Before then, I'll give my whole breakdown and analysis again on A-Day. Would be glad to answer y'all's questions on that. Plus, we'll open the phone lines 205-342-9904. If any of you guys were able to make A-Day or catch a number of the clips that have been circulating on, social media and all over the internet, we'll love to get y'all's thoughts on A-Day. Because I'll say this, Chase, I know a number of people have walked away with a number of different opinions depending on who you ask. Some people were pleasantly surprised with a number of things. Some people walked away maybe impressed with key aspects of this football team. Others, a little bit more on the critical side, depending on what you're looking at and who you're asking. So we'll dive into that. I'll discuss it. I want to talk about it with you guys. And, of course, we'll talk about it with the head football coach at the top of the hour. So really exciting day here on the show today. If you guys are new, welcome in. Definitely appreciate you guys hanging out with us. Again, we are live Monday through Friday. Live on radio, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. You can check us out on the FM or, of course, the app, which you always encourage you guys to download. It's completely free, allows you to listen to not only us, but all the other shows. Wherever you're at, that's globally. You could be overseas and still be listening to the Miller's Edge. Had a number of people that have told us that they've been able to do that, which is awesome. And, of course, we've now implemented our streaming again, right? So we stream live on YouTube, X, as well as Facebook on the Tide 100.9 page. The rest are at the Miller's Edge. So appreciate you guys joining us. Appreciate your guys' support. And I'm very appreciative always, but especially so this weekend. I don't know if you guys have seen, I'm sure you guys have probably seen some of the posts on social media, whether it was on our Instagram or over on X. But I want to say this, man. Over the weekend, it was announced that we were named Best Sports Talk Show Media Market here in Alabama at the 2026 Abby Awards. And I just can't thank you guys enough. Like, all seriousness, man. Like, for you guys that know me, and especially people that really know me, man, I'm a guy that I grew up hating public speaking. I mean, you couldn't pay me enough money to go sit in front of people and talk. I absolutely wanted nothing to do with it. And I somehow kind of got into radio. Now, my dad, when he got done playing football, he was doing radio before he got into the ministry stuff. And I grew up really watching him do it and sometimes going and sitting in the studio with him. He used to do out of the Fox studios in Charlotte. He covered the Gamecocks. He covered Clemson. He covered the Panthers. He worked a lot. He worked as a sportscaster. So I watched him do it, but never felt like it was anything that personally that I would see myself doing, because I never wanted to be in the spotlight. I hated recruiting. I didn't want to do a bunch of interviews. I wanted just to play football and do what I enjoy to do and spend time with family and basically just kind of go about my business. But a few years ago, man, when I found myself in a position where I was back here training and stuff, and between the things going on with my late mother and a lot of personal stuff with injuries, I was I wasn't really involved with the game, and I chose to walk away from the NFL and was approached, asked if I wanted to do some radio stuff while I was kind of taking care of all that. And I said, I don't really like speaking a whole bunch in front of people, but I mean, I guess I can try it. My dad did it. And sure enough, it ended up being one of the best decisions that I've ever made. I ended up joining a radio show here on Tide 100.9. I was asked to do sideline reporting, ended up doing that several years, was even offered the color analyst job for Alabama football after a year. And I wanted to stay put in that sideline role. I just felt that was a little bit better for me. But long story short, it's really kind of taken off. And I never really viewed this as something I wanted to really pursue. If I'm being honest with you, it was always something that just, kept me busy. It gave me a sense of connection and it kept me involved in the game of football. And, ultimately, man, it's grown into something a lot more special and a lot more than something that I just used to occupy my time or, pay some bills. I ended up really turning into, a family for me, right? I mean, I ended up losing my mom a couple of years ago, and I needed something to kind of, get through some difficult stuff. And I relied heavily on the show. Each and every one of you, coming here every day has really turned into, something special for me, man. So, I don't want to get all emotional, but, it means a lot. So I hope you guys understand it really from the bottom of my heart. Even if it's, just a simple award like this, it just little things like that, man. They keep you going, and it definitely gives you some motivation, especially when you haven't had the easiest path, or you've had a pretty tough hill to climb. Because even to this day, I mean, things aren't easy, whether it's professionally or personally. But you just got to keep forward, and I think just little things like that just remind you of why you do it, and continues to really just make you just want to keep going. You know what I mean? And I definitely want to keep doing good work for you guys. This only motivates us. We're not going to stop. We're definitely going to keep on pushing along, and we're going to keep pumping out good content. We're going to keep trying to do more breakdowns. We're going to keep trying to entertain you, teach the game of football, and ultimately, just create a space for you guys to kind of get away. Because at the end of the day, man, life's tough. A lot of people go through stuff. Nobody has it easy. But I've always found that this space, whether it's sports or just a sense of community, can help people out tremendously. Because I know it does for me personally, and hopefully we can create that space for you guys. So with that said, man, I just want to let you guys know I really appreciate all the congratulations, all the people pouring out so much support over the last 48 hours or so after we announced winning the award. I hate we weren't able to make it up to the Abbey, so I want to say thank you so much to the committee there, all the folks that voted for us with this award. All of our listeners, can't thank you guys enough for always hanging out with us. Whether we're cutting up, my dad, almost crossing the line with some of the crazy things that come out of his mouth, or we're doing film breakdowns, man. I just want to say thank you guys so much for being here each and every single day. And of course, everybody behind the scenes, Chase, all our producers, big shout out to Chase, man. Chase is like my right-hand man, when it comes to, really putting this thing together, especially on the radio side of things, man. Chase is one of the best of the business. And a lot of times the people in front of the camera get all the credit, but the people behind it don't get enough recognition. So I want to recognize each and every one of you guys that work behind the scenes to make these things happen on the technical side, producers, managers, everybody that, make this whole thing run. So not going to hold you guys up too much. I know it's turned into a big emotional speech thing, but really I just wanted to come here from an honest note. Listen, I have no notes. I didn't even plan on really going as far as saying all this. I really just kind of came out naturally. I really just wanted to say thank you guys and kind of keep it pushing, because like I said, I don't want to put too much spotlight on or attention on myself. I really just want to put on a good show for you, but I just felt that it was really important. And then last but not least, and of course most importantly, man, like for my mom and even Pops, man, somebody who's like a grandfather to me, they were my biggest supporters when it came to this show. And I just know how proud they are of me being able to get this. So that being said, man, I appreciate you guys. We're going to hit a timeout. When we come back, we're going to dive into this A-Day breakdown. We'll hit Head Coach Kalen DeBoer both with his press conference, but also we're going to hear from him live right here on the show at the top of the hour. So make sure you guys are tuned in for that. We're going to discuss A-Day with him. Plus, we'll talk a number of things, man. We'll talk about the running game, what needs to be done to fix that, a whole bunch of other things. We'll dive into the X's and O's like we like to do right here on the Miller's Edge. Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC, quick timeout. We'll be right back.
Catch hourly local news updates from the Tuscaloosa Thread, powered by Tuscaloosa Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram. Lease a new 2026 Chrysler Pacifica Select for $421 a month for 42 months, $39.99 due at signing.
All right. Here we go. Let's get down to business, guys. Let's get down to business. Let's see who we got in here. Roll Tide Nation, what's going on, guys? Can't wait for Alabama football to be back. Roll Tide, roll. Yakenji, what's up? Happy Monday. Phil, what's up? Yakenji, Jake, what's going on, guys? Thanks for the 8-day update over the weekend. Absolutely, man. And I enjoyed it. I'm glad I took you guys' advice on that. Definitely going to do more. I'm going to start putting out extra content like that, in the form of videos that we can either break things down, or even if it's a quick little 15-minute video. I think you guys like some of that extra stuff. So, hey, listen, like I said in the video we posted, man, the only thing I ask, right, everything's free around here. Big thanks to our partners that put it on. So please, all of our partners, you see their logos and their ads and whatnot going across the screen, or whether they're joining us, you hear their ads on the radio side of things, which, we mute during the stream so I can talk with you guys. But please, man, always support our partners, because they're the ones that make this whole thing possible, right? They make it free for everybody else, because this stuff is not cheap. Trust me, all this stuff to put this together is not cheap. So the only thing we ask from you guys, right? Just like each and every video if you can. It takes 2 seconds. Just hit that like button. I promise it does absolutely nothing except help us grow, which also helps you guys. And then if you're not, man, just hit that subscribe button. Those two things right there help us out tremendously. And that's all we ask from you. But we'll definitely keep putting out more and more content like that, because I think you guys really enjoyed what we did over the weekend. Jackson, what's up, man? Chef, what's up? Excuse me, Chef. I'm sorry. Thanks for chopping it up with me on A-Day. Tristan, enjoy my time. Oh, is that Tristan that I met, man? It was nice meeting you, man. Absolutely. Man, glad I got to meet some of you guys. I did get to meet Tristan. I met a number of other folks. I was kind of on that gate down at the bottom for a minute. It was hot though, guys. It was a hot day. If you guys were here, man, you already know it was hot. Mike, what's up? Ken, what's going on? Travelpreneur, what's up? Thank you guys so much. Seriously, I know there's a lot of people that have been reaching out and congratulating us. And seriously, man, I wish I could get back to each and every single person, but on behalf of myself and my dad, who's hopefully going to join us at the top of the hour, I just want to say it again, man. Thank you guys, because you guys really are what makes this whole thing possible. There'd be no show without our listeners. So best believe, man, this the award and recognition goes for each and every one of you guys. Every single one of you, seriously. It's our award. It's our award. Like I said, it's a family, man. So it's our award. So congrats to you as well, because you guys made it possible. Listen, when you're submitting your work, right? I mean, it can feature interviews, phone calls, right? So guys, if you don't shy away from the phone lines, because you might end up being on the submission for these awards. We got BJ, what's up? We got Kyle, what's going on? Nick, what's going on, man? Smitty, what's up, brother? Great job on the breakdown video. Teaching the game is your lane, and more people are receptive towards that than hot takes. Absolutely. And that's why I'm going to lean more into that. I'm just going to start. And now that I got the little software, it ain't perfect. Like, you can see all the stuff around it. Like, it's not perfect, right? But I was like, I don't even care. The fact that I can draw on the screen now, that's all I need, man. So absolutely, I appreciate that, Smitty. And I appreciate you guys for all the advice and recommendations. Oh, by the way, because I know I'm rambling, if you guys have anything that you want us to potentially ask Coach DeBoer, now I have a number of questions that we will get to, so I can't guarantee it. I know I always say this with guests, and half the time I hardly get them asked. If you do have anything, please make sure you drop it in the comments, and I'll see if we can squeeze maybe one or two, depending on how much time we have. But if you do, maybe write like DeBoer Q or QKD, and then your question. That way I can kind of single them out here in the chat. Arthur, thank you so much, man. Seriously, I appreciate it. Dwight, what's going on, man? Thank you, brother. Thank you, Jake. Thank you, BJ. Thank you, Travel. Thank you, Austin. That dude, thank you so much. Melissa, thank you so much. DeBoo, man, thank you guys so much. Adam, thank you so much, seriously, and for all your support, man. Like, man, you're the man. You really help us out tremendously here with what we're doing, and we can't thank you enough, man. Daryl, thank you so much. I got to come back to break, but I promise I'll try to get back to each and every one of you guys the best that I can, man. And welcome back into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Real quick, I do want to point out that the Masters was this weekend. I know we kind of probably forgot about it a little bit, given that, and maybe y'all didn't. I know I plan on watching a good bit more of it, but between A-Day, posting and making more content for you guys, editing that, and then of course, just trying to take a break because I felt like I was going all weekend, guys, because I also have to, clean my house on the weekend. I got to get, everything in order for the week. Long story short, I didn't really watch a whole bunch of it, Chase. I'll be honest with you. I didn't catch a whole bunch, but I can tell you, man, Rory McIlroy continues to be one of the best in the game. He captures another Masters victory, another green jacket, and I'm pretty sure is that back-to-back for him? Right, I want to say that's back-to-back. If I got that right, yeah, he won back-to-back years, man. Shot a final round of 71 and finished 12 under par. So not only is he even more decorated, he's got a lot more cheese in his pockets, as my dad would say. I saw a post on ESPN. It was talking about the payouts. Guys, if you have kids, let me just tell you this. I know everybody loves football, but don't forget about golf. I mean, Chase, did you see any of these payouts for these golfers, man? And this is just I know it's the Masters, it's the biggest one of them all. But, I mean, I want to say Rory ended up walking away with, I don't like pocket watching here on the show, but like $5+ million. Then even like the guys following up all, over seven figures. So Chase, did you get to catch the Masters a little bit? Did you keep up with that? And what do you think about that whole payday thing, man? Are we missing out on maybe signing kids up for golf nowadays with the money that these guys can make?
Telling you, it is a huge, like, different spectacle when it comes to golf. It's really big in California. A lot of my friends that graduated in high school, they play at multiple D1 universities across the country, and they tell me it is like, it's crazy. Yeah, they make a lot of money, especially at the pro level, even international as well, Christian. But yeah, listen to Christian on this one, guys. They make money. Now, obviously, football, basketball, soccer is starting to come up a little bit in terms of like adolescence and middle school, high school, not in college level. But golf is a really slept on sport. I got into golf a little bit. I didn't play with my grandfather. He loved it, and he showed me the game. And it's funny, the winner, Rory McIlroy, that was his favorite golfer. So for Rory to win it back to back was very, very sweet, very, very sentimental. But Rory did it. Christian, Rory showed why he's one of the baddest players right now in the game, and he's still young. He's not particularly old. He didn't really show any signs of slowing down. He was very confident in his swing. He didn't let the pressure get to him, and he just acted as business as usual by his celebration. So I expect big things from him for this next calendar year. But congratulations to Rory, and yeah, man, I'm looking at these numbers. Wow, let me reconsider my career a little bit, because this is crazy.
Yes, we might need to head on over to Old Colony, man, and go get the clubs swinging a little bit. Listen, yeah, that's just one event. I mean, now granted, you got to win, and there's a lot of golfers you mentioned. Listen, all over the world, there's good players, right? Golfers come from all over the world. So to get to this point, it's not very likely, right? Football, even just in the NFL, we all know how difficult that is. And you got a 53-man roster, and you got an expanded practice squad. You got 32 teams. To be one of the best in the world in golf, man, it's not easy at all. But it's not all about the cheese. I get it. I'm just being funny. My dad would definitely, he probably would say otherwise. I'll say this though. Speaking of golf, he's on the golf course. He's actually playing in a tournament called Monday after the Masters, right? So it's not the Masters. He is not playing in the Masters. I'm gonna be clear on that. He's playing in Monday after the Masters. I want to say it's put together by Hootie and the Blowfish, some of his really close friends. Those guys have been boys for years, man. Him, Darius, Sony, and all those guys, man. They've been tight since they were back in college. So he plays in it every year, but hopefully we'll get him on. I think the plan is he's going to sneak off to the side and join the show when we have Coach Kalen DeBoer, which is coming up at the top of the hour. So I know you guys probably seen the stream or wondering like, hey, man, you say that Kalen DeBoer is going to come and join you to break down A-Day. What's going on? Well, he will in about 30 minutes, and we're definitely looking forward to that. But before, I'll give you guys my breakdown, because I walked away with a number of takeaways, which you've probably heard, but I'll try to make it concise. I'm not going to drag it out like I sometimes do. You guys know I love adding details in there, but I'll try to at least hit up my main, like, top 10 takeaways, plus add a couple more things. And then I definitely want to get y'all's thoughts. So let's do that. Let's go ahead and hit this next time out to stay on schedule. When we come back, I'll go ahead and give my A-Day breakdown and takeaways. Then I also want to get y'all's thoughts on that. 205-342-9904 is the number to the program if you guys want to do that. Or just drop it in the chat, man. Tell me, what were y'all's key takeaways from A-Day? Good, bad, ugly, whatever's on y'all's mind, man. And be honest. You guys know how we are on this show, man. Tell me what you walked away thinking after seeing A-Day. And if you didn't get to make it here, I'm sure you've seen some clips. You've seen plenty of people, including myself, talk about it. What are you taking away from what the noise is after A-Day? Want to get y'all's thoughts right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230. WTBC, quick timeout. We'll be right back right here on the Miller's Edge. Don't go anywhere. Do you have cracks or potholes that are dragging down your property's appeal? Shout out to our friends over at Asphalt Restoration. Army, what's up? Says Keelan looks good, defense solid, but we will be limited by the O-line once again. Man, it's a pretty fair statement you got there, man. I have to say, I agree with that a lot. I really do. Agree 100%. Post said, sorry, I didn't zoom in further on those clips. Man, you ain't got to apologize. I appreciate you just being thoughtful, sending us over some clips. I'll pull them up here in a second. Matter of fact, here we go. I got you right now. That's a good idea. Let me see. I feel so bad. There's so many people. The breaks are short. I want to scroll up and say thank you to each and every one of you guys that I might have missed. I'll try to do that here in a second. We got a super chat I need to hit from Ron Hollywood. Thank you so much. He says, congratulations, Christian. Well deserved. Will you have your dad on with Coach DeBoer? You know what you're doing, man. You know what you're doing. You're hoping that he's going to end up getting a clip. I'm just being funny. And honestly, he won't. You know what's funny, man? I mentioned my dad's, long history in the media, 20 plus years, and really at all levels, even national media. He likes to be, funny and he definitely will speak his mind, but best believe he knows when we have interviews and stuff like this, man. If you guys, we've had Coach DeBoer on the show before, we've, players and coaches and stuff. He always, he turns in more to the professional pastor of pain where he's going to, break down X's and O's and ask a really good question. He does a really good job. That's why I want him on here because, I've got some good questions written up that I want to hit on, but I feel like he does a really good job. He's good, man. He's good at it. But yeah, he'll lock in, and he should be on here, unless the wind's blowing too hard or, I don't know. I was going to say, let's see, he has a few too many cocktails on the golf course, but he doesn't drink, so that shouldn't be a problem. But Ron, thank you seriously so much for the super chat and the congratulations, man. I really, really appreciate that. And all you other guys and girls in the chat that I might have missed. JJ, thank you so much. Kyle, thank you so much. Phil, I think I might have caught back up on it. If I missed you, I promise I did not mean to. Just want to make sure I have enough time in between these breaks. Defense will be solid. Offense will be mid. Good in between, 20 to 20. Down in the red zone will be an issue because of no running game and a young quarterback. That's an interesting point. Now, I will say they did struggle punching things in when they were down that goal line red zone area on the ground. But through the air, they made some nice plays. Now, granted, and we'll hit on this. Yes, I know Keelan Russell would have been sacked on a number of touchdowns or big throws. But at the end of the day, that's a problem, especially with up front, right, keeping them clean. But more so, if you're just judging, his passing ability, what he ended up making out of the play, if you just ignore that part, you can at least evaluate him and say, okay, that was a big play, right? Or that was a special play. That was, a great rep by him. While also acknowledging, defense had a solid rep and probably would have had a sack there. I'm going to save all y'all's input here. I'm going to get to it. Let me just hit this because we're about to come back. Let me just do my breakdown real quick because I know we got less than 30 minutes until head coach Kalen DeBoer will jump on the show with us. And we're back on this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. We're going to start breaking down A-Day, which took place this past Saturday in Bryant-Denny Stadium. We will be joined by head coach Kalen DeBoer in less than 30 minutes, top of the hour, to get his thoughts and just ask him a number of other questions regarding this 2026 Alabama football team. So make sure you guys stay locked and loaded for that. But first, I want to give you guys my breakdown and analysis and a short version of it, since you guys probably heard majority of what I had to say through all the content we've been posting throughout this weekend. So let me just read off my quick 10 takeaways from A-Day. And again, these are just like my main 10 takeaways. There's going to be things I don't necessarily hit on here that we can talk about, but this is what I had walking away from it. Number one, and it goes 1 through 6 are like the main positives, and the last 4 are some of the negatives. Number one, Keelan Russell has a chance to be a star. Ladies and gentlemen, we all got to see that and witnessed it, whether you were there, whether you weren't in attendance and got to see it on video, on social media. I mean, he had a phenomenal day. Now, we did learn after the scrimmage that Austin Mack was a little dinged up, hence why the number of reps between the two were a little uneven. Keelan Russell, especially later on in the scrimmage, ended up taking majority of, I think, of those reps towards the end. And we learned from Kalen DeBoer's press conference that Austin Mack is dinged up. And it sounded like it wasn't like a new, quote unquote, injury or something it sounded like it was something that had been nagging him and maybe, started to aggravate him a little bit throughout the course of the day. So, going back and really having that in mind, I think it's fair to say that, number one, you should never just walk away from a spring game and immediately anoint any individual, no matter how good it looks, because it is just one performance. Remember, there's like 15 total practices. there's a lot of other work that's been done before A-Day that these coaches and many people have gotten to see. So always taking that into consideration. But without a doubt, the star of the show and who I deemed MVP of A-Day, I went ahead and I threw up a nice graphic. I'm really enjoying this whole graphic design thing. But I had Keelan Russell. I'll throw it on the screen right there as our MVP. Redshirt freshman went off, man, 21 of 33. Now, depending on who you ask, I think some of it's been cleaned up. Some maybe it was like 20 of 32. Who knows? Some people had like 220 yards. Other had 240 yards. It was not an official stat count. But this is what we initially had via Charlie Potter. So we definitely want to give him credit for his work, I think, with Bama Online. 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, another one that definitely could have been an interception. The thing was dropped. But regardless, those were his numbers. And not even just that, just watching him. When he was in at quarterback, whether it was with the 2s or the 1s, which he initially started with the 2s but got plenty of reps with the 1s, the offense it flowed better, right? They moved the football much better. That explosive playability was there. And then, of course, you just see what makes him special. Listen, I had a number, not many, but there's always a couple people when it comes to the quarterback battle, they get real sensitive and they think, oh, you're picking sides. Oh, listen, I tell you guys all the time, I don't have a horse in this race. I don't care if what you look like, where you're from, or what. The best player I want to be out on the field because that makes the team better. And every time I've talked this guy up, it wasn't because I'm biased. It's not because I have this favoritism. It's none of that. It's just because every time that I've laid eyes on him from an objective standpoint, he has just impressed me. And I said I didn't want to compare him necessarily to Bryce Young. I'm not trying to make all these comparisons because I feel like we do that way too loosely. But you just see the way he plays the game, the way the game comes to him. It seems like it's really slowed down for him. Now, again, you still see some of those young player tendencies here and there that he's going to continue to outgrow as he gets more reps and experience. But without a doubt, the talent is just oozing off the guy. And that's why I've been saying, I mean, like, if it gets to a point where I understand you got a guy like Austin Mack, who also has done and did some good things in the spring game, but has really done some nice stuff during the spring. Even if it's close, guys, it's just when you have a guy like this that offers that big play ability and just has talent like that, that's why I said if he can get up to speed with the command and really outgrowing some of those young player mistakes, man, I just don't see how you don't roll with a guy like this. Not saying it's time to name a starting quarterback just yet because there's plenty of football to be played. And if anything, let those guys keep competing, right? Don't let anybody get comfortable. But without a doubt, I think that's probably everybody's biggest takeaway from A-Day. Next, the wide receiver room. Listen, I think they're going to exceed even my expectations. We went from a few months ago hardly having any scholarship guys in the room. You had Ryan Williams kind of serving as that key, I guess, leader coming back, even though he's still a young guy himself. Latzia Brooks we were all excited about, but Rico Scott, Derek Meadows, and then you had Sedarian Morgan. That was like the only group of wide receivers you had at one point in time. And then you add Noah Rodgers via the transfer portal, several other members end up signing, and you start seeing that room kind of come together. But I'll be honest with you. I was like, I know Ryan Williams. I think I'm expecting him to return to form. Latzia Brooks, I know how special he is. Can Rico Scott step up? Can Derek Meadows do something? How quickly can we see Sedarian Morgan get up to speed and end up contributing? Well, it looks like all those guys I just mentioned are proving that they all should be just about ready to contribute. Rico Scott, I want to point him out, had a really nice day. He went from last week, had a little bit of a tough day, and this is why I said you can't put too much stock in this one performance, because if you went to scrimmage number 2 and you watch Rico Scott, he had some issues with some drops. You probably would have walked away saying, I just don't know about it. Then he followed it up with a really impressive scrimmage on Saturday. Sedarian Morgan, big day for him. The true freshman, really impressed, man. Got some opportunities working out of the slot. I mean, he's a big guy, but moves really well. That was one thing I wanted to see more of him coming out of high school. What is his route running like? How well does he move, right? I mean, I saw him make all those acrobatic catches using his body to really just, overpower guys, right? And just really just dominate the high school ranks. But I wanted to see it here. And he's been very, very impressive. And Derek Meadows, man, very consistent. And we're talking about there's a lot of length in that room. Some really good athleticism. Noah Rodgers, I hate that he got injured. He went down. I know you guys are asking for an update. I don't think Coach DeBoer will be able to give us too much. I know he's got an MRI scheduled. Even if they do probably have word at this point, they'll probably really take their time with announcing it. But we'll ask. I'll definitely ask for you guys. But he had been looking really good this spring before that injury. So hopefully it didn't look good on the field, but let's just hope that he can get back, because I really hate that. Next, I had the running backs, man. I get it. If you're looking at the numbers that people recorded, the running game definitely looked bad, especially from a numbers perspective. It looked just as bad as it did last season. However, there were some moments, and I'll get to that here in a second, but without a doubt, our offensive line is still a ways to go, to be expected when you replace everybody, especially with a lot of young players and guys that haven't played a whole bunch. But in terms of the running backs themselves, listen, A.K. Deer I don't think he really recorded a whole bunch on the ground, but he had some catches out of the backfield. You just see, with the ball in his hands, even though he caught it instead of, receiving it via handoff. Now, you look good, right? I would say, without a doubt, Daniel Hill looked the best, and I think you guys got to see what I've been talking about a few weeks ago when I getting to see these guys and talk with folks just saying, listen, this guy's running behind his pads more, right? The weight change, just the healthiness of him. He looks like a much better player this time around, and you guys got to see that during A-Day. I think he might have had maybe, I don't know how many yards that he got credited for, but I'm not really worried about that right now. If you just watch him, and there's a clip I'll pull up here in a second from Dwight. He looks good, man. He looks like he's improved, and I'm excited about him. Trayshawn Brown, who's got a lot of attention on him. There's been a lot of noise about him. I thought he looked good. Kevin Riley, a little bit more of a quiet day, but I saw him last week, and he looked great. What I'm getting at is the running backs have made improvement for their part, right? That's not the whole fix to the running game. We know majority of it comes up front. We'll address that. But from the running back position, a group that underwhelmed last season, I like the direction that they're heading. Even though the running game wasn't great in the scrimmage, if you just know what to look for out of those guys, you can walk away and say, okay, we have a little bit more hope this season from that position. Next, the secondary, they're loaded with young players. We've talked heavily about Ivan Taylor. I thought Carmelo O'Neal, the transfer from Mercer, looked good. Jaire Edwards getting some opportunities in there. There's a number of young guys, right? I mean, Jordan Edmonds and Chuck McDonald. I mean, I think it's proof now, and you guys have seen it from A-Day. This secondary definitely is one of the most talented groups. They've got definitely probably the most length in the country, and without a doubt, some really, really good depth to the point where we're probably going to see a healthy amount of guys getting reps in that secondary this upcoming season. Defensive line, they showed some signs of being disruptive. I thought very similar to the secondary in terms of the number of guys getting some action and doing some good stuff early on. Steve Boomaw, Isaac Faga was in there, I think, with the ones, and he was making some noise the first couple of series. Steve just continues to progress and get better. Still got to work on that conditioning with him, because as soon as he starts getting a little tired, man, all the good kind of starts going out the window. But you can see it, man. He's strong. He's explosive. He's powerful coming off the football. He was frequently in the backfield. Kendrick Bingley-Joe's doing some nice stuff. I was looking for Devin Tompkins, trying to see, how he looked on a consistent basis. Watching his tape before he signed here, I was a little unsure about his ability to play the run. I feel like he's much more physical right now. Personally, I was impressed with just, his ability to play the run. Now, he didn't make a whole bunch of noise necessarily, and that's why I was trying to explain after scrimmage number 2. Don't expect a guy that, whether he's on the edge, to be, loading up the stat sheet. I think he's going to be effective, right? And I think there are going to be plays that he's definitely going to make, but he's really big for an edge guy. And then inside, he's getting a lot better at stopping the run. So regardless, I think he's going to find numerous roles, and be effective. But I was impressed there. And I just think overall the defensive line, a group that we wanted to see more intensity, more physicality out of, I think they've shown that. Now, I will say this, the offensive line is behind. So I will acknowledge, I think the defensive line is definitely making some really good strides. However, I'm not quite sure I'm ready to say they're as good as many people might be on to believing at this point in time, only given that I know our offensive line is not where they need to be. So I'm still going to be cautiously optimistic, because I know once we go and play some real deal offensive lines that, probably have some veteran guys that might be a little bit more ahead of what we just saw our offensive line and where they're at during the spring, it can look a little bit different. So I will make sure I throw that out there. And then lastly, for the positives, always mess the guy's name up, but for the kicking battle, I would go ahead and say the transfer kicker that we brought is how do you pronounce his name, Chase? Do you know it? Regardless, I think he's going to end up winning the kicking job, which is a positive. He looked good in the game. He made a nice kick, I think over 40 yards or so, and I think he ended up being perfect on the day. Talty struggled a little bit, but I think it was a really nice addition via the portal. I know we kind of don't talk a whole bunch about special teams, but I thought that was important. The punter, hard to really go off of because he didn't have a whole bunch of opportunities. I don't think it was great when he did it, but over the course of spring, I think they've been pleased with what he did. And then real quick to wind down, here are my 4, negatives that I would throw out there. Running game still has a long way to go, which I try to give you guys a heads up. Don't expect this thing to be a complete 180 from last year. I don't even think that's necessarily the goal, right? I think they just want to be better. They want to be serviceable, and that's what I'm going to ask Coach DeBoer. What would be success in his mind? What are their goals for the run game? We'll talk about that with him. But outside of a few moments where they had some runs, one of them I'll break down here in a second. It was outside zone. They blocked it well. Michael Carroll flying downfield, climbing to the second level. Ended up being like a 10-plus yard run for Daniel Hill. Put his foot in the ground, found the cutback, got north and south, lowered his shoulder. I mean, there's a few moments, and there's a few that we were just inches away from doing something good, but similar deal, right? Just one guy, not necessarily doing the assignment or the execution is just slightly off, and then it ends up not working out. But regardless, even though I expected it to still need plenty of work, I was hoping that we would be a little bit further along at this point in time, just to give myself a little confidence, because I didn't have a whole bunch of confidence, to be honest with you, just in this offensive line for this upcoming season. So at this point in time, I'm still kind of, concerned about that group, if I'm just being completely honest with you. But hopefully with Will Sanders coming back, I know Ethan Fields was out, I think it'll definitely be better. Next time you guys get to see this group, they'll be better than what you saw on A-Day. So I want to be clear. Don't hit the panic button. But I think it is fair to say, I mean, for people that were hoping this would be like a top 20 unit all of a sudden this upcoming year, I just personally don't think that's going to be the case. Just my opinion. Way too early to give a definitive, but where things stand, that's just my perspective. The blitz pickup was a problem. You guys talked about a lot of those throws that Kalen had would have been sacks. Well, most of them were pressure, and we're just being completely honest here. They did a decent job when we only rushed 4, but with the pressure, it was like I talked about in scrimmage number 2. Too much leakage. Guys not being picked up, too much pressure in the quarterback's face. If we're just being honest with you, what we saw Saturday felt very, reminiscent of last year, right? Struggling to run the football, struggling when it came time to pick up blitzes and not have enough time to throw. So those two things definitely need to be improved over the course of this offseason, of course, in fall camp. And last but not least, on the defensive side, tackling was a bit of an issue in the scrimmage. That's all fundamental. We can hopefully get that cleaned up. And then also, I thought in terms of pass rush, nice job generating pressure when we were rushing, 5 guys, bringing blitzes and pressures. But from only rushing 4 perspective, still a lot to be desired, in my opinion, right? So we'll have to see. We did get to see Xavier Griffin get some reps on the edge. And what do you know, man? He blew by, I think, Nick Brooks with a nice counter scissors move on the inside. That would have been a sack, in my opinion. But I do think we need more guys to step up when we're rushing 4. Don't want to feel like you're over-reliant on pressuring, with 5 guys or more. That said, it feels like some of the concerns from last year are still kind of carrying over into this year as of now. Hopefully they can get that cleaned up, and we'll talk with head coach Kalen DeBoer here in a moment, his thoughts on all that. But that was my quick rundown, a little bit longer than I thought. I apologize. But now I want to get y'all's thoughts. We'll go to the phone lines when we come back real quick, plus get y'all's feedback. And then we'll hear from head coach Kalen DeBoer at the top of the hour right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Don't go anywhere again. We are about 10 minutes away from having head coach Kalen DeBoer join us to offer his breakdown on A-Day after I just did. And we'll see what he agrees with and what his thoughts are on this 2026 football team coming up right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC.
What's next on the Deep South College Football Show?
All right, let's see. Try to read some of y'all's comments because I need to go to the phone lines real quick, and we'll try to run through them like a couple minutes a call. That way we're good to roll when Coach DeBoer gets on here. Guys, if you are just tuning in, we got Coach DeBoer coming up in 10 minutes. Stop what you're doing if you guys don't mind. Hit that like button. That's all we ask. And subscribe if you're not already. Helps keep everything free. Helps, continue to push things here on the show. And helps get more folks involved. Helps get more people tuning in, which always is more fun for you guys because the more people listen, the more people are in the chat, the more interactive it is, and we can continue to grow this community. So I appreciate you guys. Carson said, I thought we had a few runs that were successful that I didn't see us spring of last year, but it was not consistent enough yet. Yeah, absolutely. Consistency really is the biggest thing here, man. Like if they can build off of some of the runs that they did have, I truly believe that they can make some progress. That's why I want to be clear. I'm not saying that, oh, we're just, not going to be great this upcoming season. I'm just being transparent that I'm setting my expectations for what that offensive line in the running game will be to where I feel like they should be, right? And that's probably a little bit better than it was last year, but I don't think it's just going to automatically be, leaps ahead, right? Does that make sense? That said, as bad as the running game was last year, you guys also have to remember this team still went 10-2 and made it to the college football playoffs, made it to the SEC championship game. So if they can find a way to make it even just a little bit better, even if it's 10, 20% better, doesn't have to be, who is a team? Like Indiana's running game, or it doesn't have to be Georgia's running game, so to speak. I think that at least will help them out, be more balanced, help take pressure off a young quarterback, and ultimately make this football team a little bit better, especially when it gets down to later in the year and you're playing these good football teams. I think that's the most important thing here. Hope DeBoer doesn't sugarcoat things or make things. No, listen. First, well, let me be clear. I mean, I'm not going to sit. I'm not one to sit there and try to grill people or put anybody on the spot. I appreciate them jumping on the show, man. I like Coach DeBoer, but I do want to ask. I want to ask some valid questions that I feel like, people are definitely curious about. I think that's what's important, right? So yeah, we'll ask about the running game, stuff like that. I saw like a 7-on-7 clip. I'm like, oh, it's high school. I was confused for a second. I'm like, who is posting that? Spies or lurkers on the stream listening, being nosy. I hate to say it like this, man, but I've learned that a lot of people always kind of do that. And I'll just be completely transparent. I mean, it's kind of evident. Like, there's a lot of people that like watch our stuff and then use it and try to learn. But listen, you got to take it as a compliment because they're doing it because they want to learn. That means they respect your opinion and they want to use it as well. So I mean, it is what it is. No big deal. But I wish they would at least like follow us and do that. It's always funny. I have people that like interact with all of our tweets, but they don't follow us. I'm like, why don't you just follow us, man? It's no big deal. But no, it's all good, man. Like I said, it's a compliment. It's a compliment. And welcome back into this. Whoa, I almost said Talking Tuesday. I was thinking top of the hour because we got Head Coach Kalen DeBoer joining us at the top of the hour. Welcome back into this Monday edition. And hey, let's do this, Chase. We need to hit the phone lines real quick. I feel bad because I know we got folks waiting, but there's just so much we got to hit. And we got Coach DeBoer coming up, so we can't be long. Let's get Tommy on here because he's been waiting since the start of the show. We'll get him on here for a few minutes and see what we got to work with after that. Tommy, welcome in.
Hey, man. Well, congratulations.
Thank you, Tommy. Award. Hey, congrats on our award, Tommy. It's our award. It's our award, though, Tommy. Listen, I think you were like one of the first. Definitely no. You were one of the first callers we've ever had. And when I say you've been supporting us since we started, man. So it's your award too, man. But thank you so much.
Well, thank you. And I'm going to give another shout out to Patrick Murphy for getting his 500th SEC win in softball and sweeping Auburn this weekend. So,
absolutely. I'm glad you reminded me that because I was exchanging some messages with him over the weekend on that. And I can't completely slip my mind. We need to get him on the show. I'm gonna shoot him a text and see if he'll be down to jump on here. We got to celebrate that, man. I mean, they've just been doing some really good stuff with softball. I'm fired up for him.
He's the first coach ever in the SEC get 500 SEC win, and it's down on the Plains as his 12th Auburn. So he's at 501 now, but still, it's a great accomplishment.
Oh yeah, no, he's great, man. No, he really is. I need to get out there and go support him. That's what he says. He's like, man, make your way out here, man. I'm like, definitely need to. I need to catch a game or so before it ends. Tommy, did you get to go out to A-Day this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, I got see a lot. I met people. I went to eat with Ellis. I met Josh, who told the other show his fiance. I saw
Nice.
Pat. Yeah. I mean, it was a nice weekend. Best weekend I had in 2 months. I did a lot of things. I felt good afterwards. I rested up yesterday, so I felt like myself. I didn't do everything, but I was quite happy with my
Man, that's
progress.
awesome. Man, I'm glad to hear that, man.
One thing I like about the AJ game is I like to see the quarterback go back on the center a little bit and look like we brought a tight end and like for a fullback. Explain that to me. And I mean, I know they were going to keep it plain and vanilla, but it's AJ. I'm not going to show too much, but I'm encouraged. Yeah, I'm still worried about the offensive line like everybody else is, but hey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, we saw a number of things you mentioned. So there were some more pro style formations we saw. They went I, especially in that goal line area, and utilizing some of their tight ends as H-backs / fullbacks, which was nice to see, right? I mean, I will say this. They also added in some more RPO game, which we didn't see a whole bunch of last season, which I think is really, really important. You got quarterbacks that are good athletes too. We saw some zone read plays thrown in there. Guys like Keelan Russell can really take advantage of their athleticism in those situations. So there was a number of things that I felt that they incorporated offensively that hopefully they continue to work with. And we see a lot more of that this upcoming season. But nice little balance of things, like you mentioned, some of that pro-style formation, trying to just get physical guys in there, more bodies and more tight ends in there, let those guys help out in the run game, get a hat on a hat. Unfortunately, it didn't really produce too much, especially in those goal line situations. I felt like the defense definitely won the day when they were in those situations. But again, they got plenty of time to get back to work. But I do like what I've seen out of, Josh Ford, the transfer from Oklahoma State, him coming in there doing some good stuff. And I think Marshall Pritchett and Caleb Edwards are making some nice progress as well. So hopefully Coach Owens can continue to work with those guys and get them further along as we, approach this upcoming season.
Well, I mean, he's putting more plays in his toolbox, and we got mobile quarterbacks. So, I mean, dynamic young quarterbacks. The problem is there's on the offensive line. They got to get game time experience.
That's true. Yeah, and that's why I want to be clear. You're 100% right. I want to be clear. The offensive line is not where it needs to be, but you got to understand that this is only spring ball. And that's why I said, not even just them, with everything as a whole. You kind of got to take it with a grain of salt. You can be excited about things. You can try to say, hey, we'll reference this and we'll go off of this and we'll expect this to be a certain way. But understand, I mean, you got long summer months ahead, guys, to kind of go back to training, go back to the drawing board, a lot of install they'll be putting in. And then, of course, you got fall training camp, and we'll get guys healthy. There'll be more competition, and things will look a lot different, I would imagine, from now to then. At least that is the goal. Tommy, we got to get this top of the hour break in. That way, when we come back, we're joined by head coach Kalen DeBoer. He's got some tough shoes to fill, man. He's following up the GOAT, Mr. Tommy from Romulus, man. I appreciate you calling. Always good to hear from you, sir.
All right, man. Y'all take care. Roll Tide.
Yes, sir. Thank you. You too. Roll Tide. All right, we got to hit a top of the hour break. When we come back, we will be joined by head coach Kalen DeBoer right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W2.
All right, good deal. We got Coach DeBoer ready to rock and roll. So when we come back, we'll be joined by the old head ball coach. Or maybe I shouldn't. Do they use that for all coaches, or is that only for like Steve Spurrier? Growing up, I used to hear that all the time. The old head ball coach. Maybe that was only his nickname. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Price, did you see his Keelan or Mac? Sorry. He's got another comment. Commanded the offense more so far. That's a good question. I'll be honest with you. Initially, I was thinking, Austin would have been a little bit further along in that regard, but I've been blown away with just how quickly Keelan Russell has come along, right? Like, if I'm being honest with you, I was expecting him to be a little bit behind in that aspect, but this spring, I'll be honest, he feels very much in command. like if you listen to Coach DeBoer even talk about it, I mean, Kalen doesn't feel like there's still some things he's still grasping and picking up. Like it's not that he's a finished product, but to be a guy with only really 1 year in this system and 1 year in college, you guys saw it at A-Day. It doesn't really feel like that so much. There's going to be moments where it comes up naturally and rightfully so. But to be fair, he's a special player, and that's typically what you see out of those guys. Really good question, though. Remember people freaking out after some of Saban's spring games? Those teams did well. Yeah, again, I don't like to overreact. I just comment on, what we saw, and I always want to be clear. That doesn't mean everything is going to necessarily be like that, but it can just say, okay, well, we still have a ways to go in this regard or this aspect, and hopefully we can, bring it along. But some of it, you just got to acknowledge that there's a good chance it might not get a whole bunch better. You expect everything to get even at least a little bit better, right? We're talking about 13 practices in. They got 2 more, something like that. But some things have the opportunity to get a little bit more better than others, if that makes sense. Fans are acting like they saw Jesus Christ and pass.
Someone I would definitely recommend it.
Oh, man. All right, here we go. 30 seconds, guys. And we'll be back. If you guys haven't, man, hit that like button if you're excited for this Coach DeBoer interview, man. Make sure you guys hit that like button. That way we can keep doing more of this.
It's from targeted marketing to radio. You are kind of a one-stop shop, and it makes doing marketing so much easier. So I would definitely recommend it.
For more info on marketing with Town Square Media Tuscaloosa, call 205-345-7200 or click on Advertise with Us on our website. It's time for the Miller's Edge with 4-time SEC champion and 2-time national champion Christian Miller.
Once again with Christian Miller taking him down.
Here's college football playoff national champion Christian Miller on Tide 100.9 and 12:30 a.m. WTBC.
And welcome back into this Monday edition of Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 12:30 WTBC, where we're now joined by our special guest of the day, the man of the hour, Alabama head coach Kalen DeBoer. Coach, welcome in. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Hi, Christian. Good to be on with you. Thanks for all you do for our program and our program, right? You're part of this thing. You know what it's all about. You've been there. So I appreciate you and everything you do, though.
Hey, be careful saying that, man. I might just have to start getting back up there and getting a couple meals. And I've been kicking back a little bit, but you throw that out there, man. I might have to go give me a few more lifts. And I really appreciate you acknowledging that. It definitely makes us feel good, man. But and listen, I talk.
You better be careful. Then the pads have to come on too if you're going to get some of those perks.
Yeah, well, with NIL and transfer portal and all these lawsuits, man, we might be able to sneak us in a little what's it called? One of these things they're throwing at the NCAA and get me an extra year. I got hurt and missed 10 games my junior year, so I don't know. We might be able to come up with something. Let me not do that. I don't want to get you in trouble. Anyway, head coach Kalen DeBoer. Head coach Kalen DeBoer joins us here on the Miller's Edge. And coach, we're fresh off of A-Day this past Saturday. I made my way out there. Definitely was a hot one, without a doubt. But I know you've had a chance to go back and watch the tape. I mean, I understand even from playing and also being in the media space, you can't really see everything on the field, right? I mean, there's only so many things that your eyes can catch. But when you go back and watch that tape, just like I love to still break down tape, you can rewind it and you'll see a whole bunch of things that you might not necessarily have seen on the field. After doing that, how would you assess your team's performance after getting a closer look at Saturday's scrimmage?
Yeah, it was another opportunity, and I was going to say practice, but the best way to put it is it was an opportunity, and there were things that were different, right? There's experiences that with so many new faces are really good when you have A-Day, the walk, and as much as it's like, well, it's just a walk. You're getting off a bus and you're walking to the locker room, but for the guys that have never been here that are going to be key contributors and got to be game ready, having a walk where there's some fans and can kind of visualize and, it's everything. It's where, the lockers in the locker room. It's some of those things because our facility where we practice is not in the stadium. And so, the surroundings you have, it's just really good for us to get in there. And so that's before we even hit the field, it gets them thinking about what it's going to be like. And so you try to make it a little bit different than a normal practice. So that's why I refer to it as an opportunity. As far as, what we saw in the film, there's some things that were consistent with what you saw in practice. There were some things that were better than what we've had. And that's what you really hope for, because every day you want to improve. And then there are some things that were, maybe not up to what we've seen, the previous 12 practices and opportunities. So, some guys were humbled at times, and some guys were on cloud nine because of the way they play. And so you take all that into account, and the biggest thing is we just keep moving forward. We get better because of what we went through. And so I thought, there were some times where we executed. We tried to keep it simple on both sides to let them play, both offensively and defensively. From where I get to stand on the field, it's not even the stuff you see when the ball snapped to the whistle blown, but I'm seeing the urgency. Who are the guys that are hurrying up to get in the huddle, that make it life easy on a quarterback, to where, they're there and ready, and the quarterback can come in and can call the play, give some direction, a couple things, maybe just that as little reminders or points of emphasis, the things that quarterbacks do in between plays. And then we can break the huddle, with some urgency and give them time. We were very elementary or very limited on what we did blitz wise. I mean, there's some in there, but very, very low key. And so, quarterbacks, they need that time on the line of scrimmage to where they can survey the defense and get into a check. And, we just got to make that life easier for them. And that's some of the things I can see before the ball's even snapped that aren't even on film. So I'm taking all that into consideration. Who's running? I thought our guys had some times where they were running to the ball really well. There's some guys that got to get better at it, for sure. And maybe it was a certain way they played in high school, or the way they played it, maybe even from a place that they're transferring from, and it was not emphasized at the level we're emphasizing it. So lot of little pieces. Who's got the low pad level? We talked this morning in our team meeting. You can go right to the goal line plays. Who's pads below? Who's got the low pads? Yeah. And who's firing off the ball, and who's playing confident? Why are you playing confident? Who's playing slow because and a step, just a step behind, and why is that? And so, are you not sure of your job, or what is it? So those are the things we're talking about here this morning. But I thought all in all, I was pleased with the direction we continue to go as a whole, as a team, and that's trending up.
Absolutely, definitely walking away with a number of things like you mentioned that you can build off of, and to be fair, definitely some things that we'll continue to see probably develop, over the course of the next few months. You mentioned the quarterbacks, Coach, and I want to ask you about that because we all know Keelan Russell had a phenomenal performance this past Saturday. He really stood out, and you can tell he's just developing extremely well. But we also know Austin Mack. He had some nice moments in the scrimmage, and throughout the spring, I was able to make it to scrimmages and see this guy is definitely very much a really good quarterback as well. And you got a tough battle on your hands, which is going to make a very tough decision for you. So I want to ask you, when it comes to making that decision and you're choosing your starting quarterback, we know there's many factors that are involved, whether it's command of the offense, whether it's ball security, playmaking ability. But for you specifically, as an offensive-minded coach, what are the main priorities that you're going to be looking for to help you make this tough decision?
Yeah, first of all, someone asked me a question in the media just since the scrimmage, and it was a quarterback controversy. I don't think it's a controversy, and not at this time of year. It's a great competition we have going on, sure. And that's a good thing. I say that in a positive way because these guys have gotten after it. It's exciting for fans to see those guys and see what we've been seeing in practice. And sometimes you got to be careful not to oversell, what's happening each and every day on our practice fields. But, that was more of the same of what we've seen, from Keelan. And Austin was a little bit limited, but Austin's highlight reel would be something that people would be super impressed with as well. And so Kalen got a chance to take advantage of a few extra reps, and I thought he did exactly that, and that's what he should do. And I'm proud of him for it, and he's, both of them are getting better each and every day. And he certainly, again, is taking advantage of the opportunities he's getting. I thought it was a phenomenal week for him last week. I thought he grew a lot from scrimmage 2 to scrimmage 3, but he's been making plays. Austin's been making plays, all spring long. I think, I can mislead people very quickly with one word or two words when I talk publicly. And I mentioned in an interview, I think right after the second scrimmage, about those quarterbacks not living up to the level they played at, or something to that, about the standard or something. And everyone, was thinking that they played awful. Well, they just didn't play to the level that they had been playing, which, we were really excited about. But I think, again, you saw Saturday, the throws aren't going to be a problem as far as arm strength, arm talent. So now it's the other things, the managing of things. A couple times the ball was in, we were vulnerable just because of where the ball was at. A couple balls got picked. At least one other could have probably got picked because the ball was on the ground at time. It didn't get lost. But those are the things, it doesn't matter how good you are if you don't stay on the field. And I think overall the quarterbacks have done a really, really good job of taking care of the ball, understanding, that, hey, we need to be aggressive, but we also, got to make sure, we're not, taking these unnecessary risks, and just, checking it down sometimes, a lot of times is just great. And then you get your shots at the right time because you get behind the defense. So these guys have done a great job. I think there's a lot of belief and confidence by our whole team in our quarterback group. But like you said, Kalen had a great day. I was excited to see him take that next step and continue to grow.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, you have a tough decision on your hands. Both guys definitely very talented. So I know it's going to be quite the process when it comes to naming a starter. I want to ask you about the run game. I know you talked a little bit about some of those things that you guys are doing and emphasizing, whether that's pad level, coming off the football and executing. But we all know last season it definitely struggled some. And it probably, if I had to imagine, is going to be a key point of emphasis this off season. Just from the tape that I've watched, it felt sometimes we didn't always have, an identity take shape with our run game last season. Is that something that you saw a little bit too, or that you felt is maybe a little bit of the case? And if so, what are some things you think that you guys might be doing this season to really, maybe try to, from a schematic perspective? I know you mentioned, fundamentally, we know there's always things that guys can get better at to help that. But what are some things that you think that you guys need to address to improve that running game? And lastly, what would be, in your terms, like your expectations or your specific goals, right? Because I think it depends on the system and maybe what you're looking for. We all know you guys like to throw the football a lot. I mean, when you were at Washington, you were very successful at it. You still also had a 1,000-yard rusher, but I would argue that, the run game is a little bit more something that's serviceable to create more balance. It's not necessarily the key identity of your offense. I could be wrong, but for you, what would define success in the running game in your offense?
Well, I think when you can work backwards, right? And from the you can talk first down, but you also really should just go to straight fourth down or goal line, and the end of drives. And when you need to run the ball and get a first down, 1 to 2 yards, whatever it might be, can you get it? And that's a mindset. And
right.
There's execution that absolutely has to happen. And a lot of times that's the deal. It's getting in the weight room and all that kind of stuff. Like that's crazy important. You got to be flexible to get your pads down, all those things. But you got to be technically sound. You got to be on the same page, and you can go lift all you want. But the guys that can get it done are the ones that can technically do things right and take the steps and not, step under themselves or take false steps, depending on what side of the ball you're looking at. And so, those are the things that I work into, like when you need to run it, what's it look like? And then you do the work to just identity or whatever you want to call it. Like to me, the identity is just that we didn't run the ball very well. That's what you got to fix, is an identity that you can run it. But then when you look at the schemes, as you asked, and what's your identity, I think maybe that's what you're referring to there. You got to have a balance of weak side runs, strong side runs. You got to change angles on people and help your guys out that way. So you want some balance, but you can't have too much to where you can't execute anything really well and hang your hat on something. And, you call a play in the huddle. It's just like everyone in that huddle knows that this is going to be a successful play. So it's all pieces together. And I think one thing, you get focused on is the offensive line, and that is absolutely where it starts. There's a run play early in the scrimmage, and one of our players who I would say has had an amazing spring, misses a block, and the rest of the blocks guys are biting, scratching, and clawing, to and working. But you just kind of got the block, but more than anything, you really missed it. And so that miss led to a very minimal gain. And, that's what you can't have. You can't be almost or, close. Those things don't matter. You got to get it done. And that's what I think Coach Clem's done a good job of. You either got it done or you didn't. You either won your one battle or you didn't. Yep. And, obviously there's a unit that's got to work together. So that's what you got to preach, and again, the communication, all the things that lead to good execution. But a mindset is something that isn't installed, but it is something that's really important to create. And I think we're slowly creating that. The confidence, comes through repetition over and over. And that's what spring's all about. And we got to just continue to take those steps, be smart about what we're trying to install so that our guys can play fast. They can play physical and confident.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you touched on that piece about the weight room. If I had $1 for every time people tell me that, they're like, man, we got to get stronger. I'm like, guys, I spend time in that weight room, and every time I've seen the monitors, I'm like, they've got posted their maxes and all these numbers. I'm like, those guys currently are probably stronger than a lot of the guys I play with, man. I'm like, they're strong. They're big, strong guys. We have some really good players in that regard. It's like you said, when I've watched the tape, it does feel like that. As good as I do, football is a game of inches, and it's a guy maybe, not taking the right steps or not getting his hat across, those little details that can really be the difference between a 2-yard gain and a 20-yard gain. And so I definitely agree 100% with you on that. We're joined by head coach Kalen DeBoer. Coach, I appreciate you joining us. We got just a couple more minutes. I just want to ask you, as spring ball comes to a close, I know you guys have 2 more practices this week, I think tomorrow and Thursday, which would be nice, kind of get back on the field following A-Day. But what would you say right now is that where things sit? What are some key areas that you feel strongest about with this team? And then maybe a few areas that you believe might still be a work in progress.
Yeah. I feel like there's areas that just when it comes to positioning and positioning and every position on the team can kind of look at it. And I think maybe defensively, because I referred to it in the post-game or post-spring game press conference, they're just, what we did a good job a year ago that I thought we improved on a lot was just pass rush and everyone being in sync and working together and not giving lanes for the quarterback to step up. So, we watched that from a spring game. We watch that from our scrimmages, and we get a lot of good reps and practice at that. And so, those are things that we can continue to work on along with our individual techniques defensively, just playing together, knowing where the repetitions, and especially the newer guys, where's your help at? Not that you're going to cheat your coverage, but where your help's at. And so, you're not guessing, you're not predetermining, but you can anticipate some things and trust and believe as a unit. And we did a great job of that. And so, every year starts all over. And, those are some of the things that we just not got to get better at, but just through repetitions need to continue to improve. And I think we're on track, but we are far from where we need to be. And so these next couple practices, and those are just a couple examples of things that I know we'll be working on. But 2 practices here, a little unorthodox. Usually your spring game is the end. Just some things with scheduling that, put us in the spot, and it's totally fine with me. I want to see where our guys are in their mindset, on doing what we say we're going to do. And that's take advantage of every opportunity. Well, here's an opportunity with 2 practices to get better, and we need to get it done. We need to get better, and, not just talk it, but actually walk it and do it. And so what's our mindset? Like, how bad do we really want this? And, take advantage of the practice ahead of us.
Coach, I asked you this last offseason when we had you on here, and I think it's relevant to every football team. You just mentioned every year you start over. You start from scratch. You have a new team, which means you have a new identity. I got to ask you the question again, because when you look at last season, a lot of really good things were done, some really positive steps. You win 10 games, you earn a trip to the SEC championship game, you make the college football playoffs, you win the first one on the road. And then we know there's also some shortcomings that unfortunately when you're at Alabama, the standard just so high and expectations are just through the roof that even with all the good you can do, it seems like some of those moments tend to overshadow a lot of the positives. But as you look at this 2026 football team, what's that identity that you want to establish for this unit? And at the end of this upcoming season, so maybe a year from now, what would need to happen for you to say, you know what, I'm looking back on this as a year of success?
Yeah, I mean, we need to build right now that continue to remind the guys every play and every play matters and every player matters. We were good most of the season with punt, right? And that's a great example. We get the SEC championship and we get a punt block, and we saw how it went the other way too. In the next round game, the first round game there against Oklahoma, one of the big plays was us on, our punt block team getting one the other way and how that led to momentum. And so every play matters. You don't know when that opportunity is where you're going to have it right in front of you, the opportunity to change the game. And so, just that mindset, we're creating that. We're trying to a scrimmage is a great way, right? I mean, the tackles that can be made on the goal line or a takeaway that happens. I think about the Vanderbilt game, where there was an explosive play and we got a takeaway soon after that in our red zone. The Tennessee game would be an example of that. And yeah, we don't want to bend and not break and have that mindset, but sometimes that happens. You're facing good teams. And so repetitions and talking through situations, you just can't get enough of it. And that's what we're working on right now. So, for us, it's to be our best. I mean, that's our goal. And we believe with the players and the staff that we have here that that's a high level of success. We don't want to get caught up in what it is to win a championship. We want to get caught up in what it is to be a winner, what it is to be a champion. And that's the daily discipline and grind that it takes to do the things the right way, the discipline that you have with your habits. And our guys are extremely disciplined that way. If you saw what these guys do as far as how they show up, and it goes back to the day before with them going to bed and getting their rest and eating right, the habits that they've created. We try to compare. The next step is being a pro, and they might as well start working on being a pro now. And I think you'd see our team has bought into that. This group has bought into that, and continue to take the strides that you expect to see guys who are committed to it to take.
Yes, sir. Love to hear that, Coach. I can't thank you enough for taking some time to join us. I know Alex is like, hey, man, we got to hurry up. We got stuff to do. So I just want to tell you thank you so much for hanging out with us for, some minutes here. I know you're busy and then you got to get ready. You got practice tomorrow, but hopefully I get to see you up there sometime soon. I know I was chopping up with Justin Hill. We might get some good pass rush work this summer. So I'm sure we'll cross paths sometime. Coach, you still with us?
Yep. Okay. There you go. I lost you there for a little bit. Yep.
I was like, whoops. I was like, you might have missed it. I was just saying, no, thank you so much for joining us. I was just telling you, I appreciate you taking the time to join us. I know you got a busy schedule, but I was talking to Justin Hill, and hopefully we might get some pass rush work here during the summer. So hopefully I'll be able to see you up there and chop it up a little bit more in the future.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Appreciate you, Christian. Thanks for having me on.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Coach. We appreciate you. Coach DeBoer, joining us here on the Miller's Edge. Big thank you to him and all he does here with the program, and of course for taking the time to join us here on the Miller's Edge. We got to hit a timeout. When we come back, we'll respond to everything Coach DeBoer had to say right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Want to make the most of your tax refund? File with TurboTax on Intuit Credit Karma. They help you get your biggest refund, and then we help you do more with it. With a personalized plan.
All right, good deal. I was like, whoops. I was like, did we lose him? I didn't know if it was on my end or what. He probably had another call coming in. Yeah, I felt bad. I didn't want to hold him too long, but he's very gracious and gives, a lot of details on his answer. So I wanted to try to get one of you guys' questions in there, but we were already running a little over, and I didn't even I had to leave out a couple of mine. So I was like, man, unfortunately we're crunched, but hope you guys enjoyed that, man. I thought it was great. Definitely want to get y'all's thoughts on it. We'll respond when we come back. Let me know what you guys thought about what Coach DeBoer had to say. I thought it was some really good stuff, man. He had a great breakdown of a number of things in the process of kind of what they're working on right now with their guys. That was really cool. I feel like for him to share, all the little details that they were discussing this morning in the meeting, which I think is nice to paint a picture for you guys to understand. A lot of times we get so caught up in talking about X's and O's, but like he said, they're in the meeting rooms and they're talking about all the little details imaginable, from pad level to the steps, right? Who's confident in their assignment? If you are slow to react or to make a play, why aren't you like that? Is it that you're not watching enough tape? Are you not grasping the install enough? What are some things that you guys, the players need to do, right, to improve in those aspects? So that was really cool, man. Really good stuff. I appreciate him doing that. Let's see. Let's go. Good deal, man. Good stuff. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see. Sorry, I got a bunch of notifications popping up. See what you guys are saying in the chat. Settling in, hoping for a big year upcoming. Really good interview. Thank you, guys, man. Seriously, thank you. Great interview. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Love my MF coach. Y'all are funny, man. Yeah, no, listen, you can definitely tell he sounds a lot more settled in, right? In terms of just the confidence, which makes sense. He's going on, year 3. That was one other thing I wanted to ask too, like going into year 3, and is there a little bit more of a sense of things being his, right? Having his stamp on things. Because if you think about it, outside of maybe a handful of guys, majority of these players on the roster are pretty much his players. Excuse me. He's made some changes on the staff. So I wish I could have got into a number of things, but you only got so much time, but definitely appreciate him doing that. We really do. He'll be back on too, I think, with Ryan at 2. I had no idea until I saw that yesterday. I didn't know he's scheduled to do both. And welcome back into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Big thank you to head coach Kalen DeBoer, who just joined us here on the show. And appreciate you guys tuning in, man. We had a bunch of people listening, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that. If you missed some of it or all of it and you're just getting in here, you can always rewind any of the streams and go back and listen to it. It started at about the top of the hour. And I feel like we got to talk about a number of different things that I felt were really cool, man, from 8A breakdowns to some of the things they're working on this week as they wrap up spring ball, to even thoughts on the running game and things that they're doing to improve, which I know a lot of you guys have been talking about that and asking about it. So we got to hear from the head man himself, man. Really great honor to have him on here again, and hopefully we can continue to do it, man. That said, I want to get y'all's thoughts on it. 205-342-9904. I know we had a couple phone calls before, and they've been waiting for a while. I don't know if they're still there. Chase, do you mind checking in to see if we still have? I know we had Tough on there. I know we had Mike from Opelika. Any chance either of those guys are still there? It looks like, let me see. Yeah, Chase is going to check on that. Let me read a couple of these comments while we do that, because I do want to squeeze in some phone calls. Let's see. Somebody said it's coach's chance to bring me on is to get these guys. No, listen. I'm always happy to help out. Like I said, I mean, if dudes like Justin or anybody ever wants any pass rush help, man, they know who to call. I'm always down to get some work in, so definitely would be happy to do stuff like that. Let's see. It looks like Tough is on the phone line. So let's go ahead and go to the phone lines. 205-342-9904. We got Tough up next. Tough, welcome in.
Hey, thank you, Christian. Congratulations on your show.
Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. I just had one. I remember, if you want to look back, I remember when I first listened to you was on the Matt and Lars show. And come a long way, man.
Yeah, that's right. That was the first show I ever started doing that. I was doing some
I think it was. I remember I was at work listening to it. Yeah.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
I just got a quick question. Yeah. I got a quick question. What did Coach Saban want to accomplish at A-Day? And did you take it as winning a starting job? And that's it. Thanks.
Oh, that's a great question. Again. Thank you so much, Tubb. That's a great question. We definitely can hit on that. So,
all right.
Yeah. And if you want to hang on and listen, you're more than welcome to. If you need to get out of here, no worries. I know you're.
Oh no, I'm good. I'm listening.
Good deal. Yeah, so I'll say this, man. I'll start back. I'll go back to front. You mentioned it. Did we view it as a chance to win a starting job? In my eyes, listen, I'll say yes and no. I knew it wasn't like a tell-all. For example, I didn't expect to go out at A-Day and go have a phenomenal performance, which I talk about this all the time, man. Like, I took pride in A-Day. I mean, I had at least 2 sacks in every single A game I played in. And I made sure of that because I knew it was a great chance to make an impression on, of course, the fans. And, we used to stream on ESPN. So I knew, there'd be scouts in attendance or watching. I knew there was a lot of eyes on it. And early in my career, I redshirted my first year. The next year was, a lot of special teams. Only got, trash cleanup duty a little bit in 2015, which was totally fine. It was a part of my journey, and I was all signed up for it. I knew what to expect. I needed to develop. And then even going into 2016, I had Ryan Anderson, who I think is going to join us on the show this week, and also Tim Williams in front of me. So still was kind of out. My role was growing, but I knew to be realistic with it. That said, A-Day was always a time for somebody like me to say, hey, there's a lot of attention on other guys right now, and I get it. I'm a young guy here. I just got here, but I'm going to take advantage of it. And I'm going to not only prove it to the people watching, but also the coaching staff, because it can help increase my role, and then also prove it to myself. Because I just always felt like, I want to compete. Even if it's just I'm competing against myself, I always want to be the best that I can. So while I didn't expect to come out of A-Day with a starting role, I knew that it could help leave an impression on that coaching staff and make them say, okay, let's see if we can, get Christian involved. Let's see. And it would work. I mean, I would maybe get a few more reps to see if I could get some, reps at Sam with the first team if they needed me in there. So I would look at it from that perspective. From the coaching perspective, I don't think they viewed it so much as like they were looking for a finished product. Most importantly, they wanted us to go out there and compete. They used to tell us all the time, even in practice, they understand that we're not going to execute 100% of the time, especially as we're learning installs. But what they really wanted was to see a football team go out there and treat it, as if it's a football game, go out there and take care of each other, but really play at a high level, go to battle like we would any other time, and make an impression on the staff. And so that's kind of the approach we always had. We didn't view it as like a practice. You know what I mean? Like, well, it is. Yes, we did. Like Coach DeBoer mentioned, a scrimmage. It was a scrimmage, but we treated it as any time, and that wasn't just A-Day. That was any time we traveled to Bryant Denny Stadium. Right. Anytime we got on those buses and went to Bryant-Denny Stadium to do a scrimmage, because we only scrimmaged, 3 total times in spring, 2 scrimmages in A-Day, and then I think twice during fall camp. Our approach to those were, there was no, because I had somebody asking me at A-Day, like, oh, wait, so are they just going like 70%? I'm like, no, I wouldn't think so, because everybody was like, hey, this is a job opportunity for us, if that makes sense. Even though we didn't think we would win a job, like you asked, we treated it as such.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. That's a really good
Very
question.
good answer.
Oh, thank you. Very good question. Very good question. Anything else you got for us before we hit this break?
No, I'm good. Thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate you calling, and thank you for the congratulations stuff. I really appreciate that, man. Take care.
All right. You too.
Yes, sir. Good deal. Good phone call. Let's hit a timeout. When we come back, we'll keep responding to what we got to talk about with Coach DeBoer, and we'll keep going to you guys, get y'all's thoughts, perspectives on everything right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC. Most players today don't want to develop. They want the bag, and they just become mercenaries with a novel concept to work at your craft and to actually develop and learn. Yeah, it is a little bit different. But there are still some guys. I wouldn't say, because I find myself thinking like that, because it is true. Majority of the guys, you're 100% right. It does seem like that, but there are a few guys that you do see still have that type of mentality. But I can't even blame them, though, because as much as I'm a grounded person and I choose the path to, ultimately put in the hard work and see the results pay off down the road, and I've always been like that, it would be very hard because I'm also a business-minded person. And if I was here and I knew, and I had no problem sitting and waiting my turn, like that's what I signed up for. This sounds crazy, but I wanted to redshirt. Like I wanted to redshirt. I had that conversation. I was hoping to redshirt. I know you guys might think that's crazy, but what I did not want to do is we didn't have a transfer portal. So why would I, at 205 pounds, by the time the season came, my freshman year, I was up to like 220, similar like Xavier Griffin. I was around that 220 range. But I knew the only role that I really was going to carve out my true freshman year back in 2014 with the number of guys we had in that outside linebacker room, maybe with special teams, yes. And maybe some third down opportunities here and there. But the way I viewed it was I could sit here and I could redshirt, because back then, if you played one snap, your year was done. That was it. You burned your red shirt. We had a teammate that did that. He had to go in due to an injury, didn't play any other games. He went in there one game as a backup, and it burned his red shirt. Nowadays, you can sue and trying to get a lawsuit to get an extra year. We didn't have that back then. So I approached it from the perspective that I want to redshirt my first year so I can preserve my other my total 4 years after that redshirt year. And I'll just take advantage of that first year. And that's exactly what I did. Nowadays, I don't think you'll see people with that mindset. But for me, I was totally good with that because it made sense. Why would I waste a year? I guess it's not a waste even if you get some opportunities. But to me, it's like I would rather preserve it. That said, if I was sitting here and I know NIL is a thing and as business-minded as I am, I would, without a doubt, would have had teams calling. Why? I was a top recruit coming out of high school. That's already going to generate some buzz. I was a member of the, Alabama defense that everybody was, 2015, 2016. That would have generated some buzz and definitely earned me some opportunities. And then last but not least, I was a pretty dang good player in terms of pass rush. And we know that pass rush, I said that in a humble way, right? I'm just saying, like, I could rush the passer, right? My senior year I had like 9 sacks or something. I could have made some money. And it would have been hard for me just to say, oh, I'm going to turn that down. Probably still would have turned it down, but it would have been a lot harder if I'm just being completely frank. Shout out to the beat writers. We got people that are writing articles on our interviews, man. For the longest time, it was the craziest thing. We'd have all types of guests on here and and all this great stuff lined up, but it was like either like people like just chose not to do it or what. But now it's been nice, man. We're finally getting more recognition here on the show. But so thank you guys. Shout out to looks like Mike Rodak wrote an article. Charlie Potter, shout out to Charlie again. Charlie, we use your stats. Thank you again. I want to acknowledge that. We used your stats from the scrimmage. Wyatt was tweeting during it. Thank you, Wyatt. As silly and as small as that sounds, you guys don't understand that it means a lot when you see people actually reference stuff like that. Because for the longest, people had like, we didn't even exist. I'd be like, it's just the weirdest thing, man. The weirdest thing. If I missed y'all's thoughts or comments on either the interview or on A-Day, man, drop them so we can get them resurfaced. That way we can talk about it. We got 20 more minutes or so live on radio. And welcome back into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Again, big thank you to head coach Kalen DeBoer, who joined us. If you guys are just tuning in, it started 40 minutes ago or so. So you guys can just rewind the stream and catch that, or go back. And I'll definitely clip it and post it separately for anybody that doesn't want to try to search through or comb through the whole show today. No worries. I get it, man. People are busy. All right. That being said, Chase, I want to give you the floor real quick. We covered a lot of things with head coach Kalen DeBoer, from the quarterback position, kind of what he saw out of them, what he's expecting when it comes down to making the decision, the running game. He talked at length about that. Really, just as a team, some of the areas that they're looking to continue to improve. Everything obviously has room for improvement, but he hit on some of those, and also some of the things that he feels like it might still be a little bit of work in progress. Anything really stand out to you, Chase, from what we talked about with head coach Kalen DeBoer?
I think just the overall message of his confidence in his team. He's not shying away from that, because a lot of coaches I see nowadays, they're very humble. Like we got more to work on, but he understands that he has the talent. He has players that are willing to run through a wall for him, and that's something that I think a lot of Crimson Tide fans wanted to hear. It was just too many question marks of what the identity of last year's team was, and when he got hired here at UA for the first time. So I think it was a statement for him to say on the Miller's Edge was awesome for you to have him on there, Christian. But it's awesome, and if I'm a Crimson Tide fan, I'm elated. Because even though you didn't get to see A-Day, when you broke it down after A-Day and today, Christian, like a lot of people just really feel better, because it's just you just didn't know what was going to happen in the offseason. There's so much going on. It's kind of funny. You joked about it with NIL and transfer portal being back on the field, but that's kind of it's a problem. It's something that's like it's really breaking up teams, so it's important that Coach DeBoer, had to relay that not only to writers and to you, Christian, and to a lot of fans out there listening right now, but you need to have your fan base together. Nowadays, you look at these teams that were legit. Now they're nowhere to be found because they're losing the fan base, and donors are leaving left and right. They're just a speck gone. So I think it was very beautifully done for Coach DeBoer to not only address the fans, but be like, hey, look, I understand we don't have a running game, or we're trying to focus on that, but this is what we're going to do. I understand our pass rush needs to be better in this certain areas, but this is what we're going to do. 8A was what it was supposed to do. We have a QB competition. That's good. No, we're acknowledging of what we're hearing. We're not numb to that. So, but yeah, I'm very much impressed. I'm excited for because I know they have practice this week, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they got one Tuesday and Thursday. So they'll be back on the field. And like you said, I mean, it's definitely a little unorthodox, but I think it actually works out well because, normally you have 8A, which we just had a good call from Tough. And on one end, yes, you treat it somewhat like a game, but it's still a scrimmage. But you try to create that environment the best that you can because it's a good opportunity. Like, I should have threw this in there, and I'll do it now. The other part to 8A and events like that, spring games, is also a good opportunity for coaches. Why? Because they get reps. You got to remember, like, the logistics of calling a football game, whether it's from the coordinators, the signals, like, you can work stuff like that in practice. But when you go to the stadium, like he said, from the walk, it's almost like simulating a game, and it gets them reps as well, like the staff, coaching staff, everybody. And so I'm glad he hit on that as well. Again, really, really detailed responses from head coach Kalen DeBoer, which we appreciate. And that's why I told you guys, we're going to try to talk football. And that's why, hopefully I didn't, I don't think I offended him, but by asking about the running game, but definitely wanted to dive into those specifics because he knows we can talk about it, right? We're both football guys. And that's why I like trying to get those kind of answers for you guys, because you're going into the mind of the head coach, right? And he can tell you what he's seeing when it comes to watching the tape, breaking these things down. And no disrespect, but to the fans that just say, "Oh, well, they're not strong enough." That's why I told them that. Don't worry, and because we've talked before, like people think things are one thing, right? But it's crazy when with football, it's just a game of inches. And I wish it was as easy as, okay, we just got to go throw a couple more plates on the bar for our offensive line, and then everything's fixed. But like he mentioned, man, no, it's whether it's getting your hat across, taking the right steps. I mean, even if you take the right step, but you're a step behind, right? Like I'll pull up on my breakdown after we finish on radio. There's these little things that they got to correct. And the good news is, it sounds like he's very intentional. Like he mentioned the meeting that they had this morning with the team. They're addressing those small details because they understand as a staff, it's going to take those things ultimately to get to where they want to be. And so I was really pleased with what I heard. And just to acknowledge a lot of the comments, a lot of people were saying, yeah, we can sense kind of the conviction in his voice when he's speaking about it. And I think the confidence that comes with going into year 3. He's probably a lot more comfortable now, knows what to expect and all that. I think it's definitely starting to come along, and I think it will, in fact, help this football team moving forward, even though there are going to be some challenges, right? We already know. I mean, young offensive line, young quarterback, whoever it's going to be that just doesn't have a whole bunch of experience. Typically, we know that's definitely a recipe to go through at least some growing pains. But the good news is you can see the potential in a number of areas, like he mentioned, coming out of A-Day. We got to hit a quick timeout, but real quick, I need to remind you about our friends over at Lamparello Law Education and Advocacy that are a huge part of putting this whole thing together. Again, they are founded by attorney and Professor Adam Lamparello, who works with high school, college, and graduate students on academic and career success, providing mentoring, exam and test taking preparation, application strategy, personal statements, resumes, and of course, long-term academic and professional planning. But not only that, if you need legal representation for any matter, whether it's NIL, academic misconduct, you name it, any criminal defense matter, they've got you covered, and they'll do it with genuine care, passion, and of course, relentless advocacy. 201-317-5115 is their number, or you can always email Adam at lamparello-law.com. Again, that's Lamparello Law, the official representation of us here on the Miller's Edge. We got to hit a timeout when we come back. Keep on rolling right here on the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230, WTBC.
Coming up on the game.
All right, good deal. Sneeze Sports. Shout out to Jaisha, man. We got Jaisha in the chat. Y'all make sure you go check Jaisha out on Sneeze Sports on YouTube. She's got a YouTube channel, but definitely on X too. She does a lot of good clips, interviews that she breaks down and throws in some nice B-roll, and she does a really good job. And she, of course, helps us out as well, man, getting some nice content. So shout out to Jaisha with Sneeze Sports, man. If you haven't, guys, go check her out. Give her a subscribe over on YouTube. I'm sure she's got a bunch of stuff coming y'all's way on that, and she covers everything, all sports, and does a really good job. Same with Chase, man. And matter of fact, and I said this on the stream on Saturday, but huge thank you to the two of them, man. Chase, our producer, and Jaisha, they both were helping out, getting 8A coverage. So all those, not daily, I should say, those updates, right? The updates throughout the scrimmage, that was all courtesy of them. I was trying to do my best to do as much as I could, but man, my service in the stadium, I know you guys know it's terrible. And normally I get the athletic department Wi-Fi or whatever it's called. It wasn't working. And so, man, they were crushing it. And even before the scrimmage, we're out there at the Walk of Champions and the ceremony, all that good stuff. So big thanks to Chase and Jaisha, man. They've been a huge help with what we're doing in terms of the content side of things, growing on our other platforms. Of course, we are a radio show, which, again, big thank you to you guys. We did get named Best Sports Talk Show Media Market here in Alabama over the weekend. But we're growing, we're expanding, and takes more support. So we're definitely very appreciative of all their efforts. Can I sue to get a year or two, man? That's what I was joking about. I was joking about that with Coach DeBoer. Probably shouldn't joke about that with the head coach on radio, but I mean that's where we're at with college sports, though, man. I mean everybody's suing at this point. Probably, honestly, I would have had a case. I would have had a case for a medical red shirt my junior year, but that window's probably gone. Plus, I don't listen. I'm about to be 30 this year, man. I can't. I could not suit back up and hold my, I don't know, my dignity knowing I'm playing against 18 to 22-year-olds. So if I'm suiting back up, man, it would have to be, I don't know. I mean, you can't just magically go suit back up and play in the NFL, even if you played at one point. Don't work like that. But if I really wanted to, maybe I could call up AJ McCarron and tell him, let me get a shot at Stallions, go get a couple rushes in. But I'll be honest, man, I'm good staying away from all the physical aspects of the game at this point, man. I've had plenty of injuries. Don't need any more. So, yeah. I don't know. I'd much rather talk about the game at this point. I do miss getting out there every now and then, but trust me, talking about the game is cool. Dwight said my phone overheated while I was recording clips. Guys, it was hot, man. It was a hot one out there. It was rough. Pivot to basketball. That's where all the 30-year-old college players are. Listen, if I could hoop, it would be a consideration. I'm not a hooper. That was my brother, though. My brother could hoop, man. I'm not a hooper. They always joke, and anytime we played at the rec, like my job, well, it wasn't my job, but I fouled everybody. I couldn't help it, man. I'm, a football player. I don't, basketball, they don't want you to touch anybody. They just want you to put your hands up. That's not how I play basketball. So unfortunately, that didn't work out too well. Should we pull up some tape after the radio show, guys? Should we do that? Should we break down some tape live? If you guys want me to, I'll stay on here for a few minutes and do it. If there's anything, I'm sure you guys probably saw our breakdown, but if there's anything you guys want me to dive a little bit deeper in, or just even go over that video and then pull it up and make it bigger, that way you guys can actually see it a little bit better. Let's do that. I'll pull it up. I think I saw the film guy posted. I think he did a breakdown. I'm curious what clips he used, so maybe we can see what clips he used, and then we can go from there. I will say this though. If we do use this video, I want to make sure we give credit to him for his work. But let's see. Let's come back here real quick. Then we'll figure out what we're going to break down. And welcome back into this Monday edition of the Miller's Edge, Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Let's go back to the phone lines real quick. 205-342-9904. We got Ellis up next. Excuse me. Ellis, welcome in.
Congratulations there, Christian.
Hey, thank you, Ellis. Thank you so much, man. I told Tommy, man, you OGs, everybody, really, all of our listeners, it's our award, right? Because we're all family over here. But thank you seriously so much, because I know you've, just like Tommy, man, you've been with us like every step of the way, hanging out with us at our live shows and all that stuff. So thank you so much, Ellis. I really appreciate that.
Yes, sir. Got to hang out with Tommy Thunder Saturday.
Yeah, that's what he said, man. Hold on now. Y'all didn't go too crazy on those what were those, like Yellow Hammers or whatever y'all were drinking at the live show, man?
No, he wouldn't let me have but one drink. I got to drink one beer.
Okay, well, it was real hot, so he probably was trying to look out for you. He didn't want you to get too dehydrated, knowing the heat was out there. But Ellis, man, I gotta bring this up, man. I saw that there was champagnes and mimosas or something like that, some event that champagne and shoulder pads that they had for the women of Alabama football, like the Alabama women's department, something like that. I remember we talked last week. You mentioned you met a young lady at a scrimmage. Did you run back into her at A-Day? Did you?
No, I run into somebody I didn't want to run into.
Oh no! Okay, that's the worst, man. That's the worst.
Yeah,
Oh man. Well, okay. Well, you don't have to go into that, because I don't know. Hopefully, it didn't go too bad.
Well, I just turned around and walked off when I seen it. So.
There you go. Yeah, that's always right thing to do, man. Right thing to do.
Made a U-turn. I'm going this way.
Ellis, man, let me find out about you, man. Caveman Ellis, I'm thinking you working all the time. Let me find out you going into the pool hall, or you must be doing a little extracurricular outside all that work you do, man.
Some hustling.
I love it, man. I love it. Talk to me, man. What do you think? What do you think about A-Day? How'd you walk away from
I enjoyed it. I like what I seen with Russell, but I don't want to get too far ahead on that because it's just a scrimmage and everything. You know what I mean? I don't want to get my hopes all up and then something come crashing down, you know. But his release and everything, just when you watch him and see, well, he got more time. I was told that Austin Mack was he wasn't 100%.
Yeah, Coach DeBoer hit on that in his press conference. He mentioned that he had been dinged up, and it probably started to aggravate him a little bit towards the end. So definitely something to consider. But like Coach DeBoer mentioned, he made a comment saying, "Hey, if people had seen Austin Mack's highlights, they would be blown away." I'm paraphrasing, but to his point, Austin Mack has done some really good stuff this spring, and it's unfortunate. That's why I said one event can totally paint a narrative. Excuse me, as if like the other guy hasn't done a lot of good stuff, but that's what happens is when A-Day is the only thing that these fans get to see, so it makes sense. But I think that's probably reassuring for fans to hear, in my opinion, given that especially as Keelan Russell looked, the head coach is saying, we're really pleased with what we saw out of Keelan, but don't forget about our other quarterback who has been very impressive. So if anything, if you were impressed with Keelan Russell, the praise that Coach DeBoer just had for the other quarterback as well should make you feel pretty confident that either of these two guys, should do some good stuff this upcoming season.
And the quarterback number 11, is that the one out of Nebraska?
15, I believe, is Jet Tamala, who you're referring to. The other one is Kawa. I got to get his name right. I'm still learning it. But the one from I believe,
both of the
young quarterbacks. No. As a matter of fact, one of them I think was like 5 for 5, and the other maybe only had one incompletion. I think between the two of them, there was only one incompletion. Now, granted, they probably threw for less than 10 throws combined, but I thought they looked good with the limited opportunities they had, and that's exciting to know that you got, because they're both two true freshman quarterbacks. Hopefully, they'll continue to keep elevating their game. And I know with the transfer portal, there's a chance maybe one's not here. Who knows? But still a nice sign to see that the guys that we're bringing in, I do, and I wanted to bring that up with Coach DeBoer. We didn't have enough time that, if you look at the guys that they recruited, you can't help but be impressed with the players, right? It's one thing to sign highly ranked players, but it's another to see these players come in to actually contribute, whether it's Sadarian Morgan, Jaire Edwards, or seeing even Xavier Griffin get some nice reps in there as well. So definitely wanted to give him his credit on their evaluations and the job that they've been doing. But Ellis, I hate to do it, but we got to get out of here and make room. We got Wyatt coming up next. But big thanks for you calling in and offering that congratulations. And I'm glad you got to make it down here, hang out with Tommy. I love to hear that, man. And hopefully we get to talk soon.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide.
Yes, sir. Roll Tide, Ellis. All right, we got to wrap things up on the radio side of things. We will hang out on the stream, so if you guys want to keep watching, we'll definitely pull up some tape. I know the film guy just dropped something. Curious kind of his thoughts. Looks like he broke down the same video. We'll see kind of how our thoughts align on this. But that'll do it for us. Big thanks to every single one of you guys that has said thank you, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram, here on the stream, in the chat, over the phone. Thank you guys so much. We can't do this without you guys, so seriously. You guys are the best. You guys are family, and we look forward to doing this again with you tomorrow on a Talking Tuesday right here on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC. Good deal. Chase, thank you so much behind the glass, man. Tough as nails. Thank you, sir. Good show. Got to get the O-line right. Yeah, they'll definitely have their work cut out for them over the offseason and fall camp, but we'll see how it comes along, man. Listen, there's stuff they can build off of. Jackson Lloyd, I didn't get into specifics. I'll talk about it here in a second, but Jackson Lloyd, you can build off of him, man. I think he's a good football player. Still kind of getting a little bit stronger, I think, would benefit him. Sometimes kind of really anchoring down against power can be a little bit of a problem, but good athlete, good instincts. If you guys haven't seen my breakdown video, if you go back and watch, I definitely pointed out a couple of his reps that were really impressive. I thought Racing Delgatti was pretty solid. He's a scrappy player, right? Does a really good job out there. So, Yeah, then we know Michael Carroll. So really, it's just, I mean, you got a couple positions that need to get cleaned up. And like Coach DeBoer mentioned, I mean, it's not a strength thing. These guys are not physically weak. They're just young. They're inexperienced. And they also just need to get better technically, right? That way they can execute. Some of these things you'd be surprised how much fundamentals can really drive execution, from steps, from your eyes, just recognition, understanding. Like I went over some reps. I mean, the guards so focused helping out the tackle, that opens up a big lane, right? When you're talking about protecting, right? You want to help your guy out, but there's no need to be literally 5 yards down the field helping your tackle out. You want to give a nice bump, you got to get back, right? You got to protect your space. You get what I'm saying? So little details like that, I think those getting ironed out will help tremendously. Let's do this. I don't. Is it bad faith to pull up somebody else's video and watch it here and kind of react to it? We're giving them credit. It's the film guy's video. I don't want to seem like we're taking his content or anything. I'm just curious regarding his breakdown, because it looks like he broke down the highlight video that UA sent out to the media, which is exactly what we did. So I'm just kind of curious his thoughts on some of this, because I know you guys like listening to him.
Into spring games, all right? But what I do get a general sense of, and what I do get a general feel for, is what your ultimate roster looks like, right? What are you installs, right? Our defense is ultimately built on. Do anywhere else on the field, okay? Right back here, these 5 DBs, they're very veteran. So we kind of learn in guys, and you might see them do a little bit of mix and matching, but everybody else, we kind of learn in ball right now. Oops, I forgot we were on touch screen. All right, we're kind of learning ball right now and learning ball within the new system. Now, here's one thing. I just got done talking about this quote-unquote veteran group, but I don't know if you can tell, Jonathan, I think that's Dre Kirkpatrick Jr. right there in the middle of the field. So not the big boys back there, right? That's not Keon Saab, Bray Hubbard. All right,
and the problem is that actually is Keon Sabb.
Some of the young football players that they got. Now, here's my question. We don't have the all-22. I'm normally the all-22 guy. I normally have an answer for this. But, Jonathan, I think you can tell these 2 safeties are hard bailing like a mofo out of here, leaving the middle of the field wide-ass open. So as an offense, I need Epic Pen, by the way. I totally forgot. As an offense, we've got a post running this way, and I think the tight end's going to do something to clear some of that mess out. Nonetheless, the middle of the field is wide-ass open. It's a really good job here by Austin Mack, ripping that football, trusting it, knowing that the window's going to be there because, like I told you, I know it's going to be there. We saw pre-snap. Again, that's what he's trying to pay attention to as the ball is being snapped. We want to collect information pre-snap, and we certainly want to collect a lot of information post-snap. So pre-snap, middle of the field is closed, right, Jonathan? Post-snap, downside hut, they're rolling away. Middle of the field is now wide open. He's going to look off this vertical over here from number 3, and I like that too. We took our 3 hard over here to the number 1 wide receiver to the right. Now, why might we be doing that?
Safety keep pushing over.
That's right. Even if he didn't predetermine that he's going to split it into 2 high, all right, even if he stayed a middle field hole player like he was pre-snap, if I take my eyes hard right, I might get to influence him, and then boom, we got that post working back from that left, right? So good job here by Mac with his eyes, all right? Now, a couple of things happened on this play, Jonathan, that I just don't believe happened last year, okay? I don't believe happened.
So real quick, and again, I broke this whole same video down. So if you guys want to watch my breakdown, go check it out on our page. Again, shout out to the film guy. We're watching and reacting to his just because it popped up, and I'm just curious kind of his comments. Just real quick, just to correct. So that actually is Keon Sabb. I think he thought that was Dre Kirkpatrick. And in fact, he's right. They're playing middle of the field close. They get post-snap, middle of the field open, but it's covered 2. So to be fair,
a good job here.
The middle of the field is going to be a vulnerability regardless when you're playing cover 2, right? I mean, this is a cover 2 corner. That's why he's using that technique, right? You see him post, and then he's getting into it. He's dropping, right? Really nice depth, though, because nobody's threatening his flat, so he can play with depth. We always play deep to short, right? Same thing going on up here, which really now I should have pointed this out in my video. When you got 6'3" corners, man, it's going to be tough to really it's going to be tough to really throw over these guys, because think about it, a cover 2 corner and getting depth like that, and you say you're trying to hit these hole windows, because in cover 2, right, you got this hole that's normally a hole shot, like Ty did a nice job last season hitting some of those hole shots, right? Because normally these corners, if they're not disciplined and they're not playing deep to short, unless someone's threatening their flat, right? They kind of hover there, but you got vulnerability there. And of course, like he mentioned, the middle of the field. Only thing I would argue is in cover two, that it's hard to say like the safeties are doing something wrong. I get he's saying they're peeling out and bailing, but when you're playing base cover two, technically their responsibility is a half. They're a half player, right? So when we say half, I wish I had my software pulled up to draw it, but you guys can see my mouse. I mean, this is a half and this is a half. To split the field in half. So that's hard, right? For them to also consider, especially when you got, like he mentioned, you got a vert here. And at the bottom, I can't remember exactly. Oh, Ryan's running that deep post. So he's getting vertical initially anyways. So that safety naturally, as he feels Ryan go vertical down the field, he's going to start working that away. But he is right. Pre-snap, they do bail out of there quick. But again, when you're playing base zone coverage, it depends on the philosophies you have. That's why you see some defenses like us with Coach Saban, we pattern match a lot. This is why, because when you do spot drops and you're kind of turning and getting out, one of the biggest issues is guys don't have their eyes on where they're at, right? Like I did a clip and I talked about Deontay Lawson. He was a buzz dropper. He's dropping to the flat. Sometimes when you're going off of landmarks, we would say, 10 by 2, top of the numbers. Well, if I'm teaching my guys to turn and run and get to my spot, guess what? I don't have eyes in the back of my head. And it's damn sure hard to see when you have a football helmet on, even periph. That's why we used to always say, flash your eyes. So when I used to get in my buzz drops playing Sam Backer, right? I'm going to turn. I'm going to open my hips. I'm going to run at 45, but I'm also flashing my eyes back. Why? Because I want to look for work. I need to see if something's, threatening my flat. So, like I said, I'm just throwing that in there. And I know he's more of an offensive guy. I know he played offensive line, but I just wanted to kind of chime in on the defensive side of things because there's a couple corrections I just wanted to make. Miss J, congratulations on your recent award. Keep being great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you seriously so much. Thank you for checking us out and supporting us. I don't know if you saw our video we did Saturday. I was bragging about Xavier, man, or I should say Zay, but was bragging about him. Definitely excited that we got to see him get some reps off the edge. And I highlighted that clip of he had a really nice inside counter move, man. Really nice scissors on the inside, sold speed upfield, man. Definitely excited about that. Might need to get him in there too. I talked with Justin. I think me and Justin are going to get some work in this summer. Might need to get him on board too.
A couple of things happened on this play, Jonathan, that I just did not player personnel.
Ever since my dermatologist recommended.
Oh God, don't get on me. I promise. We're gonna get. I'll do it right now while we let the video play. I get this YouTube Premium, man. I need to stop.
With the latest Galaxy from Verizon, you can.
I tried doing it when Smitty had made that note about it, but I forgot.
They're in 12.
What it was saying.
Okay, they're in 12 personnel. Me personally, I don't know how Alabama fans feel. Me personally, watching this today, I did not feel as if, or last night, I did not feel as if Alabama is Alabama at tight end. That's my opinion. Okay.
That was kind of interesting. I just heard him say that, but I'm curious. I mean, I don't think the tight ends are necessarily at their peak number one, but I would argue that I feel like they've really come along, especially some of the younger guys, some of the stuff that they've done now, at least in the passing game. Now, if he's more so focusing here, in the run game, there's definitely still some work to be done. Without a doubt, I agree with him on that, but I'm just curious kind of when he says they're not maybe the Alabama standard at tight end, I'm curious kind of what would be his standard. You get what I'm saying? Because are we talking about, the athletic tight ends that we had several years consisting of guys like O.J. Howard and Irv Smith, two guys I played with, Cam Latu. He was a linebacker in my outside linebacker room, but then when I left, he got converted to tight end and did some good stuff. Or is he talking about, physical guys in the run game? Reason I say it like that is, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I mean, like, who would you guys say would be like the standard at tight end outside of those pass catchers that I just mentioned that have played here? I mean, C.J. Dupree, Robbie Oots were, some physical guys that we had, but I played with guys like Brian Vogler, big, C area type players, inline tight ends. But we even had, we had to convert defensive linemen to tight end because we needed more physical bodies in that room. I mean, Dakota Ball, we converted him to tight end. Brandon Green, we converted the offensive tackle to tight end. So I'm curious what he means by that, because we've always had really good pass catching tight ends And then we would have physical players that were like heavy set tight ends that we converted from other positions. So I don't really know what he means by that personally. Oh, definitely, I will. Yeah, and nothing serious, Miss Jade, but I just know I was talking with Justin and his folks, and I think he said he'll be here during the summer, so we'll hope to do so. Even if we're just watching some tape or then getting out on the field getting some work in. But I'll keep you posted. I'd love to do some stuff like that. I'll send you my contact info too. I told Justin and his folks that anything they need, just feel free to hit me up. I'm around and I'm more than happy to connect with guys.
But hey, we did the job. We got it protected. We got the ball off. We got it ripped to 1. That's good stuff. Now, this next play, we got the ball.
So I don't think he hit so much on the front. Let me pull up that software thing I was using. That way I can do my own, and I'm gonna make it bigger. I'll recreate pretty much what I posted this weekend, but I'll do it live with you guys. That way, if you have any questions, and then yeah, but where is it at though? I just downloaded it. I don't really remember the name of it. Oh wait, no, it was a website. Oh man, what was the name of it? Absolutely. I love that, man. Yeah, I'll shoot you my contact information when we finish up here. I'll definitely do that. What was the name of that website? Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts, man. Oh, I found a website that it was perfect. I guess it'll be on the history here. Let me just let this play while we.
Me personally watching this today, I did not feel as if our last. But hey, we did the job. We got it protected. We got in here on the goal line. Let's go to the all-22 cut. Again, shout out to the University of Alabama. Appreciate you.
And shout out to him, again, the film guy. This is his video. Again, this is not my work. This is his video. We're just watching it and listening to it and reacting and trying to see kind of his thoughts on the same cut up that we did.
First and foremost, we're a little bit overloaded. I don't even need the motion, okay? Sometimes I think motions can cloud things up, Jonathan, all right? And I know we're trying to run duo bounce. We need the second tight end over here. But look how overloaded we are to this right side of this defense, right, Jonathan? From this midpoint over, they have way too many bodies over there, don't they? Now watch what happens when we bring this additional tight end back into the equation. When we bring this tight end back into the equation, everybody bumps, rotates, and slides, okay? And we're trying as an offense to run duo bounce this way, right? We're trying to get these guys back over here. We're going to bring the extra tight end over here. We're trying to crease this thing right off the butt of that left tackle, all right? That's the intentions of the play. However, again, once this motion comes over here, I think it clouds everything up, don't you? It actually got them back to a balanced alignment, all right? Also, the bounce is there, is it not? The crease is there, okay? This player right here, I can't tell his number because it's a play off for him, okay? He goes in there and doesn't really put a bang on a hat right here. Also, number 4, you squat 9 million pounds. I know he's 6'5". I know he's 230 or however damn heavy this guy is. What, Danzis? Or no, this is Dejon. Dejon Lee is not your standard corner. In fact, he's built a lot like high school defensive ends. He's 6'5", he's 210 pounds, and he's big, okay? But you squat 9,000 pounds. We should not get tackled on the goal line by a corner. I don't care if he's 6'5", 200 pounds. Agree or disagree, Jonathan? Should get tackled like that.
Well, to be fair, I mean, the guy he's saying tackled him literally is like, I wouldn't say getting ran over, but it's not like, and maybe, again, I'm not trying to like go against everything he says. I'm just viewing it from a defensive perspective. Because this is what I always say, because I call this a little bit more of like split zone action, right? With those guys working back across, end up working 2 guys back across. Split zone duo, I mean, really close to being the same thing. Duo, you got 2 combo blocks climbing up to the backers, which initially, yeah, felt like they're blocking it. Again, like duo, which that is pretty much. But I always go split zone when you got the H working back across, because you can't have combo blocks in split zone if I'm not mistaken. Again, not a big offensive guy, didn't play offensive line, but that's kind of how at least I've always done it. I know it's different depending on who you ask, terminology, all that stuff. That said, he's talking about the bounce here, which you do bounce, right? And rightfully so. There's nowhere to go. Normally you're trying to hit up in those areas. But with the bounce, I would just say is he doesn't give credit here. Number one, Yonze does a nice job, and I mentioned this on my breakdown. So as soon as this guy blocks down, right, as an edge defender, you transfer your eyes. You're immediately looking into the backfield and you're viewing that apex, right? You're looking at this mesh point. You're trying to see what's coming back. Because I know as an edge guy, anytime that tackle blocks down, something's coming back. There's occasionally, they're doing wide zone over there, something like that. They'll leave you unblocked and you got the rundown. But 9 times out of 10, especially in this situation, somebody's coming back. Immediately, he accelerates as soon as he realizes this, right? And he meets 40, Josh Ford, who's a big physical guy, meets him in the hole. Almost is kind of wrong arming it, which I don't necessarily like. I know coaches teach the technique differently. We never long arm. We would call it, boxing it or really going through the V of his neck. We were always taught, I'm going to explode through the V of this guy's neck. And I'm looking to take 2. What does that mean? 1, 2. I'm looking to blow his ass up into this guy. That way, this guy, Luke Metz, who's scraping, can come over the top clean. Because this guy, right? Because one guy's coming to kick out the end, the other guy's wrapping for that linebacker. That's what they want here. What you see, Yonze does a nice job blowing 40 up, which does just enough, right? I consider that taken 2 because he does just enough, right, to get a piece of 81. You see him. He got a shoulder on 81. Yonze did his job and took 2, and it's still, look, he got back vertical, right, and he's in his gap. He's not getting washed down. Sometimes when you wrong arm, you turn, you get washed inside. Yonze does a damn good job right here. And even though 81 still kind of gets a piece of Luke Metz, that little bit of that shoulder pad on 81 did just enough to give Luke Metz some time to really come downhill, keep his outside arm clean, and really does a nice job getting in on this tackle. Okay, there it goes. And then you see it there. One thing I did mention too is I want DJ Lee. I know you're saying corner shouldn't make that play. Again, the corner really doesn't make that play. I don't know why he made it seem like that, but just trigger quicker, right? Especially in goal line. You see how we're kind of waiting. In goal line, man, there ain't nothing to wait. Once you see his run, it's go. You got to fire your gun. You don't want to be patient. He did this a couple of times. And I get it as DBs, they don't really, they're not always looking to seek out contact, but you got to hit that switch in your mind on goal line. I want to see him, or even if you're just taking those legs, man, fire your gun. Upfield shoulder, because all your help is where? Inside. The teeth of the defense are coming. So just fire your gun right there. That way you don't have to worry about him trying to fall over into the end zone, which he almost did there. I'm not sure if he did or not, but again, that was just from mine. And maybe I should just pull up, if I'm just going to break it down like this, maybe I should just pull up my video. That way we can actually do it. I'll let his play. I need to find this website. If there's anything that y'all are asking about or got questions about, let me know, and I'll definitely break it down. But let's hear some of his comments on these.
All right, we got another back end zone clip right here. All right, a couple of things. Can't see the whole situation here. All right, but Latsier Brooks has changed numbers, right? That's Latsier, number 3. This is Rico Scott, number 7. I think they have plenty of weaponry. I worry at the wide receiver position. I worry about tight end. I worry about running back. All right, that's it though. That's like 2 of the 5 positions on offense. But anyways, I worry about what's going on at running back. I worry about sometimes what's going on at tight end. But these wide receivers, man, they have a plethora of them. How in this? Do I get this off? Cannot see, running some type of either clear out or vertical concept. Nonetheless, we're going to get hard bail from 2nd and 3rd level defenders here from Alabama. All right, I really like the check down. I like the thought process of the check down. Let's get the ball out to our wide receiver. I also like, Jonathan, that we've got hots built in the system. That's what that is. That is not a go get open and score a touchdown route. That is go present yourself, get your eyes on the quarterback in case we need you now, which I love because look at all the hard bail. Look, boom, he's running the mid-hole, isn't he? Turning and running with the tight end. All right, boom, turning and running. Well, we got hard bails over here, right? We got lots of grass to work with, 12. Get to some space, get him a nice runnable ball. I'd like a better ball placement, right? We don't need him leaving his feet, do we? I'd like that nice in front of his face, allow him to run after the catch. That right there, Yonze, this tackle, I told Jonathan before, this is a we don't tackle for shit during practice tackle. This is we have not gone live enough. That's what this is. If I see this, which again, roll it back from the top, he just launches himself towards the shoulder pads of the football player. That looked to me like we've been just trying to get thuds. We've been just running over there, tagging off all week. we're all spring. We've just been running over there and kind of doing it. No, we have to practice tackling, or else this type of stuff happens.
All right, so I'll hit on. I found the website, guys, so we'll be able to break it down myself and pull it up. But I will say this on this clip. I pointed that out in my breakdown that we didn't wrap up good enough. Initially, I thought he kind of just went with and led with the shoulder, but he didn't. It just was, poor execution on the tackle. But on this play right here, guys, this is what we call vice tackle drill. So this is what we do this every practice. Vice tackle is where you have two guys tackling the ball carrier, meaning one guy is going to go kind of force the issue or initiate the tackle. Then you got the other guy coming in to clean it up, basically meeting on the ball carrier. And that's what this is a prime example. I mean, this literally is why you do this drill, vice tackle drill. And unfortunately, they don't do a good job right here. DJ Lee, we mentioned like on the goal line clip, right? We have to get better execution out of our secondary, right? Because when we talked about our run defense, one of the major problems last year was run support from our secondary wasn't always where it needed to be. These guys have to what I always call it firing the gun, right? You can't be patient. I know, you're worried about getting shook. You're worried about, missing the tackle and you try to play it safe, but you have to remember you got help, right? And we would rather you go and trigger and end up missing this tackle, because even if you miss the tackle, when you at least trigger, you're at least going to make the guy have to go sideways, right? You're going to slow him down to an extent, even if you don't make it. And as long as your defense, the rest of your team, which the motto is swarm defense, as long as they're flying to the football, everybody should be there to come and help clean it up.
After the catch.
So we got to be a little bit better. See, because you see what happens is DJ Lee sees this. Let me mute this for a second, right? Boom. He hits a crosser, hits that mesh route, right? By Rico Scott. DJ Lee, I don't know what the coverage was, but the way DJ's coming down, I don't know exactly. I can't tell. But regardless, right, they're 10 yards apart right here. He should be triggering right now because Rico catches, right? He's on the 45-yard line right now, 44-yard line. Watch what TJ's still just waiting where he's at, right? He's advancing forward. He's not. He's waiting and catching him. By him waiting on him, you're allowing this guy to gain an extra 10 free yards. You see what I mean? And I'm not trying to nitpick. This is what coaches would be telling these guys. And then you see Yanze coming, man. Again, right? He should go pull this up from the outside, fire your gun. You got Yanze coming in, vice tackle that. Play should be made right around this 50 instead. Rico ends up, you're waiting. He ends up completely whiffing. They both whiff. But I think he's expecting Yanze to make the play, which we saw that a little bit up, last season. Guys kind of waiting early on in the year, like Florida State. Guys kind of waiting and watching, and then ultimately look what happens. So instead of them pulling it up and vice tackling on the 50, he's thinking Yanze's going to make the play. He waits, he whiffs, he ends up breaking the tackle, and then he ends up gaining a whole extra, what should have been on like the 45 to 48-yard line, and he ends up on the opposite, maybe 40-yard line, right? So you're talking about cleaning up little details and things like that. This is what needs to be done. You know what I mean? Like these are like the little small details that people might overlook or just not really think matter a whole bunch. But when these are, habits, and your DBs are patient like that, they're not firing. It's going to slowly lead to more and more of these explosive plays or plays that really shouldn't have been as big of plays.
Like, you ain't going to play if you don't tackle. I highly doubt Yanze Pierre has been told that this spring. Agree?
Taxi.
We can just go to my video at this point. I will say this though, and to be fair, like I'm around to know. He's not going to know, but they actually have live tackle periods occasionally, right? Like they'll go full tackle in practice. Matter of fact, more so than we would have ever done. We never had any live tackle periods in practice when I was in school here. I mean, it was very seldom. Only time we went full tackle and didn't do thud was in the scrimmages. Coach DeBoer typically has some periods, whether it's goal line or, the occasional, I think just a regular just tackle live drill throughout his practices. So I don't think it's so much of necessarily him making it seem like they just never do it, because believe it or not, they technically tackle more than we did under Coach Saban.
The number switch, it took me a while.
Guys, and if I see one more, like This celebration,
Been told
man.
that this spring. Agree?
The
All right.
whole whiffing shark thing, man.
By the way, I like the number switch. It just had
I mean, golly, there's got to be another celebration we can do. I saw that all day Saturday. All day Saturday.
it took me a while. 42 was a big standout out there. Even in my notes, I was like, damn, did 42 get the spring off? Where he at? Oh, he's in 0. There he is. He's in 0. And he's getting coached up. Hey, what we got?
This is that rep by Xavier Griffin. I'm going to break down this pass rush here in a second, but this is that beautiful throw by Keelan. Man, they're playing cover 1 right here. You got Cedarian Morgan working right there, and these guys end up doing a switch release. Really nice job. And he ends up working on I think Drake Kirkpatrick ends up I think this might be Drake Kirkpatrick, but ends up having to go over the top. Really nice play design going against cover 1, man. You got, I can't remember who that was. I think Rico ends up a nice clear out, right? He's basically just sprinting full speed, buying this safety, get this guy to divert his attention over to him, open up the seam just enough, and then Keelan just squeezes in a beautiful shot down the seam, and a really nice play by Cedarian Morgan as well.
What covers, Jonathan? Hey, atta boy. Looks like cover 1 now. Class, audience, how did he know it's probably cover 1? Well, we got eyes 2, right? We got a lot of eyes 2 over here. Eyes 2R, man. We have 1 high safety in the middle of the field. What's the other thing you notice about what's going on your screen right about now, Jonathan? Because it took me a while, and this is kind of important. In fact, this was illegal, I think, until about 2 or 3 years ago.
It's an unbalanced formation. So I hit this on the video, right? You got quads. You got this tight end up to the screen, and you got the back offset, right? So you got 5 guys to this side of the field. Now, of course, like he's mentioned, with eligibility, I don't think it just became legal a few years ago. We used to do things, we used to call it Chevron, Exxon. There's a whole bunch of unbalanced formations. A lot of teams have been doing, but that's what they're doing right here.
We've got 5 strong right now, Jonathan. Back on the left, tight end attached, 1, 2, 3. We've got 5 options, 5 strong to the left side of the offense formation. We have a nub tackle over here. So as a defense, we have 0 passing threats over here, right? So it's very much so an unbalanced formation. This, to me, defensively, it flips all of our rules no different than we just bump the tackle over type of stuff. Does that make sense?
So we always had checks installed in our defense for unbalanced formations. So you'd always have an unbalanced check. That's why we had all unbalanced for us. They were all named after gas stations. I don't know. I know his dad owned gas stations. Maybe that's where he came up with it. I have no idea. But Chevron, Exxon, Texaco, those are all different names for unbalanced formations. So typically, defenses should have some checks that they go to when they do face unbalanced formations like this.
Okay. So I was paying attention to that. I'm like, damn, we got 5 strong right here. Also, love the concept. 5 strong as we're drawing. That's why 5 strong as we flip the formation. We put strength to the field right here. We force cover 1, like we just told you. But not only do we know we force cover 1, we're going to force the switch release on the cover 1, right? So we're going to put this nickel defender, Drake Kirkpatrick Jr., in real conflict as we put a 6'5", 220-pound, they think he might be Julio Jr., all right, running down the seam against that nickel defender, okay? So we're going to put him in conflict. Also, what are we doing? We're naturally running him away from the middle field safety, right? Okay, so we're doing a lot of good things right here. I love that we opened the hips of that wide receiver, that nickel right here from Cedarian. Watch this. Push hard. 1, 2, 3. Get him to open his hips. Now we've got the inside release on this cat. Get back up the hashes right there, which I would imagine is his exact landmark, Jonathan. Okay, all these routes, all these vertical.
Like I said, if you guys haven't, I'm sure you guys have, but go check out my breakdown because we hit on all this on Saturday's breakdown.
Or ran based off spacing, based off timing, based off landmarks, okay? We want to run it to the hash. Quarterback will throw you back into the post, in other words, just like that right there. Now, I did see some internet coaches like myself say, hey, you don't need to look for that ball that early. All right, you don't need to look for that ball that early. I say nay. I say get your eyes on it and run, especially as a young football player, okay?
All right, I don't think he hit on it, but don't worry because I got it pulled back up over here. Let me see if you guys can see that. And I'll make this. I think that should be a lot better. I think you guys can see it. better. But let's go to where he was at on that video while we let that run through there. Because I don't think he ended up pointing that out. See, he missed what I think was, I guess you call it the second best thing on this play. To me, I'd almost say it's the first just because I'm an edge guy myself. But we got my guy Xavier Griffin working down here. And I've been talking a lot about him because really, I keep saying it. Again, it's no shade at any of the other guys, but he just got a different gear to him, man. You know, he's probably the best athlete that they're going to have working off the edge. And I think that's probably the best route for him to get on the field early. Definitely like what he's been doing off the ball as well. But if you just watch him work here, man, I mean, literally, I love that he's got spacing right here, right? Using that speed and athleticism to his advantage. This guy is already stressed because he knows this is a damn good athlete. And look how wide he is, right? Naturally, this guy is going to panic and kick and get way out. And that's exactly what happens. But I love the instincts by Xavier Griffin because you'll get to see. Oh, maybe he does cover it. It looks like he's replaying it now, but too bad. We already got it pulled up. I'll hit it real quick. But if you just watch, I mean, he fires off the football. Number one, everything starts with your get off when it comes to pass rush, right? Everything. It's all about your get off. Firing out that cannon, I mean, to the point where you can see. Now, I get it. These are big bodies, but if you just watch the ground that he's covering compared to everybody else, I love he's got a good rush angle. He's flying upfield. Look at this guy. I told you he's going to panic. These big offensive linemen, they don't want to be on an island. And that's exactly the position that he's being put in right here with that rush angle by Xavier Griffin. Really nice job and really nice feel, right? He feels that tackle is panicking. He's getting out of there. What is he doing? He's turning. He's sideways, right? Anytime you have that picture as a defensive end, I mean, you pretty much, it opens up so many windows for you. Because now, right, yeah, we're selling speed upfield, but with that leverage, this guy's like 340, 350 pounds. X is what, 220? If he were to convert this into speed to power and really shoot that long arm and stab this guy on that inside pec, right, eyes in their eyes, get good leverage, he would lift this guy, even though he's 130 pounds less than him, lift this guy off his feet, punch across his face. He's got that option. Or, which probably suits him a little bit better right now as he keeps getting bigger and stronger and learning some of these rush techniques, he's going to put his foot in the ground. And he's going to play basketball, right? Why? Because this guy's turned sideways. He opened the gate. Look at this whole lane for him, right? But what I really like is, look at the hand combat, right? He goes to a nice swipe move, what we used to call scissors, beat the hands, beat the man. Really nice job. I mean, this is textbook right here. Countering across, really nice job defeating the hands. And then what I also like is he also finishes, right? Flipping his hips, getting upfield, and accelerating out of it. Sometimes guys are kind of, not coasting by, but you got to remind people, man, you got to accelerate all the way to the quarterback, right? The rush is not done once you beat this guy. I used to do that sometimes. I beat this guy and I'm thinking like, oh, I'm just there. No, you got to turn the gas back on because it's a clock. This guy is on a clock. He's sensing that. He's periffing that. He feels that. But you watch X, man, really nice job accelerating to the quarterback. This would have been a sack fumble. I mean, he's in arm's reach. That ball's still right there. At least a quarterback hit. Great shot on the quarterback, but I really wanted to point that out, which I think Film Guy got to that. But just really nice job there by X, man. And it's just nice to see that because I've been saying, man, I want to see more athleticism. I want to see more quick twitch. I want to see guys working these moves. And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Boom, right? Really nice work right there, right? I mean, we talk about winning one-on-ones. True freshmen stepping up like that. I mean, it's not necessarily surprising if you've seen his high school tape, but really impressive stuff by X right there that I think he can continue to grow and develop off of. And I think he can carve himself out a nice role this upcoming season if he can continue to showcase things like that. Of course, really nice play by CD right there, man. Both young guys are going to be special, in my opinion. Let's go back to this guy, that Film Guy's video real quick. Let me put myself back on there. Did he comment on that? I'm not sure.
Say nay. I say get your. You see it from the end zone cut. Is that a sack, Jonathan?
It might be.
Yeah, that's Elijah Griffin or Xavier Griffin. Not Elijah. He plays for Georgia. It's Xavier Griffin over here. By the way, yes, Kane Womack. Yes, whoever's deciding. This kid
all right, good deal. He did make a comment. I was about to say, man, I didn't think he was going to hit on
right here, who I'm assuming y'all paid a lot of money for as a true freshman 5-star out of Gainesville High School. He don't need to be trying to, quote unquote, figure out how to be the next Jahad Campbell. Nope. He needs to be figuring out. Y'all need to be figuring out how to get him 8 sacks as a true freshman because he might be able to do it. His number one first-round trait is I'm 6'4", I'm 225, I'm way twitchier than you are, right? So
facts. So I'm glad at first I was like, man, please don't skip over that, man, because I didn't hear him say it, but he's right. I mean, without a doubt, he's going to be the twitchiest guy in that room. Even out of Yonze. Yonze is got great twitch, but you got to remember, Yonze's like 250 plus now, and coming out of high school, Yonze has some real twitch to him, and he still does. But you just watch X, man. I mean, that 225, I mean, a little bit more of that lean build, like he's going to move a little bit different than anybody else. And I wouldn't be shocked if there gets a point in the season where his role just gradually increases and you start seeing him involved a lot. Now, again, I know it's still early. I'm not trying to oversell anybody, but personally, you can just tell like what he has to offer in that room, especially even just on third downs, if you put him in as a spy, let him get some, edge rushes. Like, I just feel like it feels a little bit different. A lot of those other guys, if you go watch them rush, man, they're not rushing half a man. They're running down the middle of tackles. They're just what we used to call playing patty cake, man. I want to see them work moves, man. And as a true freshman, not only is he, working a move, but he's got a great feel for it. He set it up perfect, sold speed, countered inside, and we can work with that.
if we can do that and add on some type of pass rush skill set like hand fighting skills, all right, we're going to be an 8.5, 10 sack guy. All right. Look at that. Boom. Get to the hand. All I would really like to see is once we overhand swipe right there.
You got to, reach. Throw in the reach. As soon as you're accelerating, reach. Accelerate, reach.
Jonathan, we really got to fire that inside hand.
And clearly you're not going to do that in this period because he does kind of end up getting to the reach. But to be fair, to his point, now when you do sell inside and you're redirecting vertical, right? We always say you want to really throw that rip. Here, I'll be honest with you. I mean, you can still just throw the rip just to keep the habit, but the way he exploded inside like that, I mean, there's really not much to really clear. But yes, you do want to always try to clear it with the rip because those tackles, the better tackles that you face, man, will definitely, they're looking to recover. They don't want to give up sacks. And that was one thing that I'll say I learned quick when I first got in the NFL, like the difference between the league, the tackles in the league, man, they're definitely really good athletes. They got good feet. They move well. Of course, they got all the size. But when it comes to recovery, I mean, just beating the guy isn't enough. I mean, they'll do whatever it takes to keep you from getting to the quarterback. And so little things like that habit of throwing a rip, I do agree. You definitely want to have that consistent. But here, I mean, you've got so much ground. I mean, you're really trying to accelerate. Accelerate. You're not going to be running, throwing a naked rip as you're closing on a quarterback. But yeah, he's definitely going to give us something off the edge, I think.
Correct. Or recollect, get a hand on. My concern about Sidarian coming out of high school, Jonathan, was separation, right? We're worried about whether or not he's going to be able to pull away from defensive backs. But here's the thing. If I got you in the slot like they do right here, first and foremost, I've already created the separation, right? The nickel has to play off. You see that? We got 7 yards. He's not in bump and run like these guys. Also, should be noted, 6'5", 220-pound Derek Meadows, former 5-star out of Bishop Gorman, okay? 6'5", 225. They are so freaking big when these two guys play on the field together, and it's clear to me that they have intentions to play them both this year at the same exact time, okay? So they are big and fast and long. All right, you combat that with the fact that Ryan Williams, Latsier Brooks, and Rico Scott, I mean, you go all the way back to Jake Hayner. These two big boys are going to be lined up together, and then we're going to have speed over here at Z, and good luck tackling that guy. Like, they have a very clear-cut plan as to what they want to do at wide.
We're bringing a corner blitz right here. I'm curious what his thoughts are. Would they end up playing on the back end? This play would have been a sack. We all know that, but I was kind of confused on what we got out of what's his name, Jaire Edwards right here. The way he was playing, I don't know. It could have been some type of fire zone coverage, which fire zone coverage is basically 3 under, 3 deep, right? Because you're bringing 5 guys. However, they're only bringing 4. You got Zulu popping out, right? They're bringing the cat blitz. You got the corner here. Looks like there's some type of miscommunication on the path that we're running because normally you got to pick one. Not normally, you got to pick one, right? Either the edge guy is going to be high vertical contain, and then this corner is going up and underneath, right? as you see, because this guy's crossing face. He's buying the attention of that guard. There's normally that window right there, or the corner is going to end up coming inside. Then the edge. No, excuse me. Yeah, no, I said it the first time, or the other way around. Or the edge is going to come inside and the corner stays off the edge. But this time, it looks like both of them end up outside until Jordan Edmonds realizes that the edge defender ends up falling down. Then he comes inside. Ends up being a sack because Kevin Riley kind of pursues it, but definitely got to clean that up. But, yeah, coverage-wise, it's a little interesting there.
Receiver, I think it's a sack, all right? And I do believe the protection's gotten better up here, all right? Now, run game, I have no idea. We're going to see 5 clips at the end last year. 3. Once Oklahoma, what are they doing right now, Jonathan? They're firing. He's the corner this time. They backed the nickel up off behind him and gave him some protection. They're firing the corner. Well, the running back sees him. I don't know if you can tell this, but running back sees him. All right, but the left tackle over here is doing his job too damn good. He's going to hit the bull snatch on this edge rusher. He's going to snatch. No, left tackle is going to beat some ass. All right, so this is kind of a bad luck situation for the running back. I'm not blaming him. All right, I think he was expecting outside rush, got an opportunity unknown to him to open up the doors for an inside rush. All right, but this was the problem last year. Okay, the problem last year was.
Yeah, so Kevin kind of over pursues it, right? And he's right. And tackle does a snatch, brings him down, but with the back over pursuing, there's these little details, man. You just got to make sure that you got to be careful with this stuff because that would end up being a sack. But he's right. Really nice protection up here regardless. But to be fair, you're not really expecting this. But, you're expecting to hit home over there. When you got Big Steve rapping for contain, right? You're not expecting this guy to really get home. These guys they're just trying to buy these offensive linemen and really clear out the path for the blitzer, which is the cornerback here. But you can tell we talk about conditioning with Big Steve, man. Very active, when he's fresh. When it starts getting hot and the monkey gets on his back, man, we got to work on that piece. But
right down on his face, and now we're going to plant him. Well, now what's the corner see, Jonathan? He sees an opportunity to jump over the offensive lineman and take an inside path to the quarterback, and the running back's caught in kind of a bad situation where he went wide. He thought the corner was going to go wide. Little did he know left tackle was going to beat some ass.
Yeah, one of the things he didn't mention it. Both guys should not be on the outside. One of them needs to come underneath, whether it's a corner, predetermined is coming underneath, or that edge guy is supposed to go up and under.
All right, so this is kind of a bad luck situation. It's a great flick, though. It's a great flick from him. Also love the situational and body awareness here from 8 on the sideline. Why is it important? 6'5", 2'8", not be named. Step right out of the change.
So I don't think he mentioned on there, but coverage-wise, that was the one that I wasn't entirely sure exactly. Here, I'll pull it up on my end real quick. That one, I was a little confused. I mean, I'm almost positive it was hold on, because I wrote it down. Let me see. Let me go back real quick. Really doesn't matter, but I was hoping he would mention it because I was curious what everybody else saw on that one. But again, the blitz that you're running here, it should work. This guy's crossing face. This guy's wrapping for contain. And either one of these two guys right here needs to be up and under on that tackle. So just some miscommunication we got to get cleaned up, but ends up working out well anyway. See what I mean? How both guys are working the edge. That shouldn't be the case, right? Somebody's supposed to be up and under, which the corner ends up doing. And maybe he did plan on doing that, and he just was waiting. He was doing it late. But coverage-wise, though, it's kind of interesting, though, because they're showing middle of the field closed right here, single high safety. You're playing off at corner. Then you watch this. He's rotating, which looks to me like he's a half player. I'm assuming maybe he was another half. So I said initially, I'm pretty sure this feels like cover 2, which I know you're thinking like, whoa, corners play cover 2, right? Well, you can get to cover 2 and kind of alternate guys around. We started doing that last year. You saw it against Oklahoma where the safety was the middle field runner. The corner then was a half player, and then they were taking the Husky, and he was playing the flats. So I think this might be a form of cover 2. Who knows? Could be a form of some fire zone coverage, something like that. Again, defenses have kind of evolved, and it's a little bit different. But the reason I think that is the way he's playing that. Like if he was a third player, normally this guy, his presence and his demeanor wouldn't be what it is right here, right? Like this almost feels like he's just a flat player, but really playing it deep to short because nobody's really threatening it. This here, though, Keelan, though, he's got to hit this, right? Especially when you got pressure right there. Take what the defense gives you. You know, we heard Coach DeBoer talk about that. This is probably one of those examples. It ends up being a really nice throw and a touchdown. But when you got pressure like that, you got this tight end delay, wide open coming across the field, just like you hit Rico Scott earlier, dump it off to 9, and make this guy make that tackle right there. Regardless, you're still going to gain at least 5 yards on this play. Much better than taking a sack. So then when we talk about some of those young learning lessons, this would be an example of that. But nice job, like he mentioned, too, with the body awareness, body control, staying in bounds. Nice catch, tiptoeing in, touchdown. Let's go back over here.
Let's watch it full for 3, but it's not traditional cover now.
Right. Okay. So perfect. I wanted to get his thoughts on that one too, because that next one, I said the same thing. It's covered 3, but it kind of threw you off a little bit because, like he said, you got this guy basically almost he has no depth, right? You got a third player. He's squeezing it back a little bit, but it's almost like he was expecting Mincy, I believe it says, to be a third player with more depth, which I think this guy's wrong here, and I'll let him explain his thoughts. But you see these underneath defenders, right? In cover 3, you have a flat player. You got hook, curl, flat. You don't need to be so shallow. You got these hook curl guys that are basically almost, a yard from the goal line. You should play this with more depth, or at least feel it out. And unfortunately, we don't. Ends up resulting in a touchdown. But really nice throw by Austin Mack and a great catch by Rico Scott. I think it's Rico that ends up working across here.
They've changed. I thought it was the best throw of the day. All right, I was telling you, Jonathan, I think it's the best throw of the day. I think it's the most NFL concept and layered throw that we have on this, 6.5 minutes that they gave us. All right, so I think I'm going to call this thirds. I mean, it kind of looks like cover 3, but it's not traditional cover 3 because in traditional cover 3, all these guys have deep thirds, right, Jonathan? They have to get back. They're, quote, deeper than the deepest. All right, but now we're in the red area, and we have that back line. All right, so it's almost it turns into much more of a zone matching principle really, really quickly here in the red zone. All right, so that's what we got defensively. Offensively, here's what we got. All right, number 1 is going to push up and
again, this is the Film Guys video. I just want to make sure I'm referencing this. Let me put myself back on the screen for a second. We're just reacting to his breakdown after we did this breakdown on Saturday, just kind of seeing how they line up a little bit. But I just definitely want to make sure I keep giving him his credit.
Take the face of that mid-hole safety. All right, we've already got the switch released, by the way. Number 1 started over here, and number 7 started over here. So we're running in and taking the face of the safety. We're running out, stepping on the toes of the corner, and breaking it off. It's kind of a double bender concept right here, taking care of both of those, thirds football players. Now, what's really, really great about this is we're doing 2 things. We're taking the eyes of the mid-hole player, right? We're going to take the eyes of the mid-hole player right.
Appreciate that, Num. Yeah, I'll shoot him a text and see if he's free to jump back on maybe sometime this week or even next. It sounds like pretty much everything I said in my breakdown on Saturday. I think everything outside of that tight end comment, and then a couple of details I wanted to add on the defensive side, or that I did add on the defensive side, feels like pretty much are on the same, I guess mindset on a number of things that we've seen. But I'll ask him about that because I'm curious if he meant from like a physicality standpoint, the run game, pass game. I'm not 100% sure.
Here with number 3, all right? And then we're running into the leverage of that corner. Do you see how that corner at the start of the snap, Jonathan, had his butt almost to the pylon, right? We're at this real heavy angle. Well, where is this guy vulnerable? Inside, right? But he's only vulnerable inside if we occupy the safety. So it's a really good job conceptually of beating the defense, all right? But, all right, the concept beats the safety in the corner, right? The ball has to beat these underneath hook curl defenders, all right? This is why layering, you hear me talk about layering the football all the time? That's why layering is so important, right? We have to get it over these defenders. We have to get the ball back down.
Let me wait till he moves his arm. But I just feel like in this case, I just don't see that there's no need. You're almost making yourself useless, in my opinion, by playing this so shallow. I get his, red zone area and rules change. Like we used to play a lot of red too, right? And there's a little, some small addendums in there, but We just got to feel this better and play with better depth, in my opinion.
7 for him
A
to
nice
go
job
up
by the
and get
offense, though.
back down
Great
and score
play and
this
great
touchdown.
execution
Okay,
by
I
the
thought this
offense.
is the best ball of the day. Let's watch it full speed at the top. That's a big boy rip right there, all right? Those are the differences between.
Really nice job by Rico Scott bouncing back. Second scrimmage, definitely had a handful of drops in that one. Maybe not a handful, but he had a number of drops, and it won his best day, but had a really nice showing on Saturday.
Between us winning 24-17 and.
Sorry, let me hit that. I promise I'll get the premium when we finish up. I'll throw ours back over here for a second. Let's see. He just hit that. I can hit on the front real quick. We end up rushing 3 right here. Let me make sure you guys can see it. This is that same play on that touchdown. I end up rushing 3. Nice push right here by 99. Again, when you're rushing 3, you're not expecting to really get great pass rush. That's one of the downsides of an odd front, right? You don't expect to get great rush. Really just want to push the pocket, which that's about as good as you're going to get for the most part. However, I will say this. Being in the red zone, there's got to be mindful of this, right? Quarterbacks, they're always, very mindful of things opening up where they can scramble wide, because typically in the red zone, it's hard to throw touchdowns. Think about it. There's only so much grass to work with, and you got a lot of defensive backs and linebackers in coverage trying to take away those windows. It's not always easy to throw a touchdown down the red zone. And that's why I say this. As a front, it's critical when you get in these moments. You got to contain the quarterback. I like what I'm seeing out of Terrence Green right here. Nice bull in that. Is that the center? I think he's working on the center right here. I think that's left guard. Yep. Really nice job getting that push there. However, got to be ready, though, because you already know when you're rushing 3, you got extra bodies out there. They're coming to clean up. They're looking for cleanup duty. That's what happens right here. Nice job by the left guard going and cleaning that up. But as you see, out of an odd rush, right, which this is just a mint front or a tight front, same thing, 4-eye, 0, head up, 4-eye. These guys are working contain. This guy's going to work these A-gaps, right? He can cross face. He's really probably being taught just to bull that so he can play both A-gaps. Why? Because you got a lot of holes here. Now, these guys, these backers, they're basically vision coverage. There's zone drops right here, so they're also going to be key in the quarterback. But only thing I would add from a front perspective is, right, want to work this as tight as you can, knowing that these holes will open up. So you got to go power. From a 4-eye, you always want to work power. Why? You're not going to be able to get a true edge rush out of a 4-eye. It's just it's not going to happen. I mean, you're literally at a disadvantage. You look at them from the snap, right? Here, a 4-eye, you're inside shade of that tackle, right? Meaning you're having to loop around. You're not really going to beat a guy on the edge. So you always want to look to go power like this and just really try to condense the pocket the best to your ability right there and try to keep that quarterback contained so he's not scrambling, especially in the red zone. But again, just throwing out some little coaching points, but really nice play and execution by the offense. Let's go back to the film guy for a second.
Trayshawn Brown. This is it, guys. We are in position to vice this football. First of all, I think we're way too close.
There you go. Quarterback draw in the red zone, 100%. One of team's favorite plays, man. And that's exactly why, like I just talked about, it's very easy to try to run the football in instead of trying to throw it against 7, 8 defenders, right? When you're only rushing 3, you got 8 guys dropping, and you only got 10 yards to work with, right? So quarterback draw, you got to be mindful. Like, you're hoping that those linebackers that are in those coverages, right, that are in that hook curl area and they're playing that vision coverage, hopefully that they can also be mindful of the quarterback, try to pull him up if he does take off. But you're 100% right, man. Whether it's quarterback design draw or even just scramble drill, always got to be mindful of that as a defense. We always talk about the red zone. It's critical. Defensive front, you got to do your job. You got to contain the quarterback.
All right. But anyways, you overcommit and you get shook and break your own teammates' ankles.
Remember we talked about earlier, vice tackling, vice drill, right? Literally, this is exactly when you work these drills in practice. This is what I like, though. Remember I talked about earlier, DJ Lee waiting on it. At least you see, I think this might be Xavier Griffin on the inside, and I'm not 100% sure who the other one is. Regardless,
great.
At least
right. But
they're
anyways,
triggering, right? They're not really waiting. I like how these guys trigger. I'll take this, then guys just be impatient and just waiting on them. Both of these guys are closing in for a vice tackle. I'll take that. They end up missing the tackle, but at least they're going to actually go and pursue it. You know what I mean? We can work on that. That's fine. And the good news, like I said, you'll at least slow him up. You slow him up enough, you see this guy working in there. I'm sure there's another safety that we can't see out of the picture.
Boink.
Right? That's fine.
Great run there for 17 after the catch. Good job.
Good learning.
We got
Good learning lesson.
A lot better, though. Got to. This is clearly the threes versus the threes, by the way. And now we have 11 playing off ball. All right. Young football player. Hate this. I didn't hate this. Damn ground, son. I didn't hate this.
So I don't think he commented on this, but one thing I mentioned when I did this breakdown was that from a front perspective, you guys know, man, I'm going to pay attention to that front. It wasn't this play, is the next one. This is the other one. This one I was trying to figure out. It looks like they're rushing out. I think they call this vol package where this guy is that, you know, he's kind of like not mugged up, but he's kind of hovering at like 2 yards. They do that every now and then. Looked like he ends up being like a daylight rusher. Again, they're basically running out. They're rushing out of a tight front. So we see it again. You got the 4 eyes and the 0. You're not expecting much pass rush, but you get absolutely 0. I mean, it's just tough, right? It's 5 on 3, sometimes 6. Like they have a tight end, really 7. Well, nah, he's going out. So we'll say 6. And then we call this like a daylight rusher. This guy's almost just looking to find a crease, find the open window where he can fill in. But won this play, but I was going to make a comment on the next one that he had pulled up. Right? 82 is trying to be Xavier Griffin right here. The problem is, number one, I mean, over here, you got these guys running what looks like either a Ned or a Tom, which basically the 2 interior guys are running the game together, right? One guy's picking, other guy's rapping. You see 95, right? 32's picking, 95's rapping. Well, here's the problem. I understand. You saw Xavier Griffin go out there and make a nice play with the up and under. And I love it. That tackle jumps out. He oversets you like that. And you got this open lane right here. I love the reaction. Here's the problem, though. These guys are working together already. So what does that mean? You have nobody covering for you, brother. So if you're going to make that business decision, which is the right decision from an instinct perspective, you got to be covered. We're not covered here. So what happens is we lose contain. I don't think he's quite the athlete as Xavier Griffin. You know, you got to be able to get back upfield immediately if you're going to take that. We don't. He's trying to clear it with the rip, but you see what happens. Ends up letting the quarterback escape out of there, keep his eyes down the field. Really nice job by 15. Really nice throw. Nice play by the young freshman. Young guys out there getting some reps. This one, you couldn't really see much off of it initially other than 32. Looked like he was running clean. I don't know who or what happened, but looks like he beat 50 right there. Don't know the move, but really nice pressure by 32 in there. Nice throw off his back foot by Austin Mack. And Derek Meadows, man, you see the length really coming into play right here, right? Decent throw, but you see him have to extend and reach out for it a little bit, man. You see those long old arms, man. Nice hands. Really nice yards after the catch. Derek Meadows, man, he honestly impressed me. I know a couple of you guys were mentioning him in the chat and talking about him, but I'll be honest. I was like, I don't know who he's necessarily going to pass up, but he's had a really nice spring, so I definitely want to give credit where it's due. Let's go back to the film guy.
Hate this. Good little rip to the chest. Love that. I love us competing into windows with pressure in our face. That is 6'5" and looks like and they don't feel as no. That's a great catch, guys. We're breaking in. We flash our eyes late to the quarterback. Ball's thrown way over here, and to the point where we don't even have time. I don't know if you can tell, Jonathan, but we don't even have time to get our hands up underneath this. It's a playmaker. I like that. Okay. Also like the yards after the catch. About 8 or 9 yards after the catch right there from a big, massive human. It's a playmaker on the run, dude. Great job keeping your eyes on your threats right there. Great job.
Only thing I'll say from a defensive perspective here real quick, I think it was maybe Red Morgan.
It's a play.
But we just got to plaster our guy. I can't tell with this angle what coverage we're in.
Maker.
I'm assuming it's some type of zone coverage. Doesn't look like he's not clearly not playing man. However, right, I get it. This is a really good athlete, and you're trying to pull him up, but you got Caden Jones right here. He's working out there to pull him up. You got to make sure you're plastering your defender, right? Sticking with your coverage, because what happens is Kalen does a nice job. As soon as that dude, he triggers to pull him up, it creates that nice little window, just enough for Kalen just to zip it in there, man. Really nice job there.
Great job keeping your eyes on your threats right there.
Golly, man. Yeah, I need to just do the premium right now. We've been getting crushed with these ads. Any questions or anything? I know we got like 300 and something people watching this, man. I know I'm just kind of running through it. I know this is basically redoing the video that we did on Saturday, but I just was curious because I haven't seen his video, just kind of how his what his thoughts were watching A-Day, and can't help myself but just chiming in. So I apologize.
The linebacker named QB. I like him. QB Reese. I like 8. I like 7. I'm okay with Luke Metz. I think Luke Metz can play. So what happens to a dude that's this athletic on the goal line? Do you see how committed to, oh shit, this guy can run, this linebacker is? That's why we want mobile quarterbacks moving down here on the goal line. We want. What do you notice, Jonathan? All right, so he's trying to do our checklist. I'm testing him on the checklist. Down distance formation personnel, right? What's the down and distance?
I would assume it's first and goal.
It's 4th and 1. I know. But this is why I sit here for hours watching, or not hours, I sit here for 10, 15 minutes sometimes watching one clip. Because if we can yes-no them based off pre-snap alignment, I'm okay with it. All right, so we've got this 2 steps hard, get back into a slant over here on the short side. I also know that any run look we have into this box is a no-go, right? It's a no-go.
Which I think this looks to me like an RPO, which pre-snap, he's 100% right. Loaded in the box. You look at the demeanor of these backers. You got this slant called right here. I think that if it is an RPO, because he pulls it so quick, it almost doesn't even feel like one, but the way they block it definitely feels like it's an RPO. Pre-snap, really nice job by him if that is the case. If it is, in fact, an RPO, because he knew immediately by this look, that's where he was going to go with it. Right idea.
Unless we have an opportunity to run the ball as a quarterback. So here's the options. We probably have an automatic give here or the RPO slant that our back is turned to. Which of those options pre-snap are you yesing, Jonathan?
Probably the wide receiver.
Probably the wide receiver, right? Because this box, like I said, it's way over heavy. We have a minus count in that box. They have got this slant if we want it, and we want it right now. So he really doesn't even put the ball into the belly, does he? So I wouldn't even call this a back two. It's kind of a front shoulder two, right? We watched that damn Jackson Arnold last year get caught or working.
That's why I'm like, it definitely has the inner linings of an RPO, but I mean, he's so quick, you don't even feel like he's even considering giving it. So maybe it's predetermined, but the way everything's blocked up and the way it feels, it definitely felt like one. But regardless, really nice play. I'll just skip ahead, but really nice job by Meadows, man. Nice catch. Secures the football, braces for contact, ends up in the end zone.
Damn it, Derek Meadows. If you ain't playing some football game.
I wanted to hit on this. I know I hit on my breakdown real quick. We talk about that 4-eye technique, right? And I know you guys are like, why you always hit on that? Well, just a little example right here. You see right here, Zulu ends up in a 4-eye. And on my breakdown, I started getting so tired. I was like tripping, man. Initially, I was confused because I think they had 15 working in at outside backer, right? If you think about it, because you got, and it might just be a goal line package that they have, but regardless, he's at outside backer because you see Caden Jones, Luke Metz, and then 41. So initially, I was a little confused, and I also thought this was the tackle. Now it's a tight end, so I initially thought it was an under front, as if like 9 technique, then this guy in a 3. But then I was like, oh no, it's just a tight front, right? So you got a 4-eye, a 0, and a 4-eye. That's exactly what it is. Zulu being like 250 pounds and watching him on tape, didn't think he was the most comfortable doing that. And you kind of see what we mean by when you have certain guys in certain positions that they might not be comfortable doing. Sometimes you have stuff like this. He ends up, getting washed down, pancake. But I will say this. I think this could even be a better picture if, number one, you look at the step. Before the step, his stance. He doesn't look very comfortable. That's not a great position of power, right? So we need to start there. Base is too narrow. It's just we need to work on that stance. 2, you see the step, his first step, he steps out like that. I would rather him just fire out into that tackle. Now he doesn't really have a strong base, and he's getting double teamed with the tight end coming down. Then you see Caden Jones behind him. Might have got him tripped up a little bit, but still got to be a little bit more firm when we are asked to slide in there. But that's what we mean. If you ever hear anybody saying like, well, if you're a bandit, if you're light, you could be vulnerable when you're in a 4-eye technique. This is a good picture of what that looks like, or at least what could happen, because you're a little vulnerable when it comes to some of those combo blocks or double teams.
This next note just says 12 can scoot. 3 all day. I think this is him.
I'll skip this. Kevin Riley, he whipped on this, or is late. Pass pro, that's got to be better. This probably be a sack in the game, but nice job by Red
Or is
Morgan.
that 0? I can't tell. Or 6. Never mind. We didn't in a big high school out there in Texas. If we can make that 4x1 team, we're almost guaranteed to be sub-11 second 100-meter runner. Like, we can go. All right, we can go.
Again, shout out to the film guy. We're just using this video to
absolutely
reference and
shut shit
compare
down in the goal line.
to our
Not
breakdown.
even going to try to attempt to pronounce my man's name. He's very clearly got a of African descent name, but it's from Quebec.
Steve Boomwa.
Somehow, we are blowing shit up down here on the goal line. Now that's a hold. That's coming back. You can talk about whether or not this scored or whatever. That is a hold. All right, 100%. 25, creating massive amounts of penetration. Let me tell you something. That right there is a no-no. Did you see what happened? Okay, unless it is 4th down, because you want the 1 added into your box score, then no, we're not allowed to do this. Now, what I don't know is it 4th down. If it's 4th down, I'm cool with this. You want to
good point.
risk the
I
ball
agree with him on that. We don't need to be stretching out like that. Too risky.
Downs, or we 4th down, you are not to extend the ball away from your body. Ever, ever, ever. Here's 25 again. He finna FS.
Yeah, Big Steve, man. He was disruptive, man. I'm excited for Big Steve. Seriously, man. Seeing him last year and seeing where he's at now, it's amazing the growth that he's had. And if we can just get that conditioning up, that dude, he's got a lot of raw talent. He's just going to only get better and better. We've all seen that when we blew up AK right there.
Bad couple of reps for old AK right here. Also, can we talk about this down on the line of scrimmage? Hey, 73, 79, love it, okay? Love it. Love that our eyes are up. Love that we're aware. What I don't love is the fact that my 330-pound interior offensive linemen are blocking linebackers, and y'all let the nose go. Can't do that. Can't do that. Because, yeah, the nose here, and y'all took the outside 2 on a down block concept. Do we all understand what I'm talking about? We had 1, 2, 3 threats, and we have a center and a guard. You went this way, you went that way, and y'all let that dude go that way. That's a no-no. Can't do that, okay? Take the 2 and take the big one. Always prioritize the big boy, okay? Down there on the goal line. I think we get this completed, though, for a tud to number 9.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Damn good throw by Keelan. 41, I mentioned in mine. You gotta drive on that, right? Can't just
down there on the goal line.
I know we're trying to just get our hands up
and
get
this completed, though.
In that throwing window. You got to pull them up, right? Remember we talked about earlier, right? Always being aware. Where's the teeth of the defense, right? Inside. Pull this up. Outside shoulder. I'm cool with getting your hands up, but get your hands up as you're making your way to the quarterback, because you never know. If you accelerate right here, he might not have that, that extra second or 2 to find Marshall Pritchett in that tight little window, which ended up being a damn good throw and catch. But as an edge guy, man, we gotta get this pulled up and understand I can be aggressive. Why? I got guys inside. Just make sure I got outside leverage so he doesn't beat me to it, and we'll be in good shape. But just a little correction there.
For a tud to number 9, the miscommunication.
All right, we're about done here, I think, because that was the pick. This is one of the last meaningful plays. We'll listen to his breakdown on them. They're running counter right here, and you got a bust on the back end. Down block, puller. Then 40 end up having 3 guys blocking 2. Caleb Woodson ends up flowing over the top with these pullers, ends up making a nice play. But somebody's supposed to account for him. I'm curious who he feels like it should be. And if you do that, Kevin Riley, who had a little bit of a quiet day, probably would have burst for at least a pretty decent run here. But instead only goes for maybe a yard, 2 at the most. You see what I'm saying? You got 1, 2, 3 guys, 2 guys, and this guy just flowing. Really nice job flowing to the football. Nice job by QB Reese. You see how quick he diagnoses this, recognizes this. They do a nice job defensively, but somebody should be there for Caleb Woodson.
There's 7 and 36 showing up. They're trying to run counter right there. What are they doing with this backside tight end, Jonathan? Is this an attempt at super counter? Pull kick. Pull wrap.
Backer.
This guy's pull trash. I've never seen this. Watch. Instead of inserting into the front gap, he sees color and he just kind of squats down.
That's why I was confused, because I'm like, either he's supposed to continue and work through, or maybe he's supposed to get off and climb up. I don't know. I'm assuming maybe he's working in. That's why I was curious. I mean, I think Brooks played offensive line, so I was curious what he thought they're going for here. But like we talked about with Coach DeBoer earlier on the show, I mean, it's these little details, man. Football is a game of inches. Other than like Jackson Lloyd, nice job. He's going to be on QB Reese right here. Wait, who is that right there? I'm drawing like.
If you keep coming.
Javen James. He's blocking down. And really, man, Kevin Riley should have this lane right here, put his foot in the ground and turn up field if somebody ends up picking up Caleb Woodson, which they don't. And you see all this grass, right? I know you got a defender here, but it should be he's here, he's blocking down there. Somebody needs to be on Caleb Woodson.
That's going to show is actually the linebacker that actually makes the play, right?
Yep.
You see that? Huh.
So imagine if 40 ended up continuing to work here. I know you got somebody closing in here, but he's got good burst, man. You put your foot in that ground, turn up field, get north-south. Should be a very nice run, but instead ends up going for
if
maybe
our tight
a
end
yard.
keeps coming and we get an extra hat for that backside inside linebacker, holy hell, do we have a run. Look at that. If 40 keeps coming and doesn't try to do his teammate's job right here on this hinge, we get up to number 7. We press this, stick our foot in the ground, and we're out the gate right here.
Mm-hmm.
This was to me, the general consensus of Alabama's run game last year.
Yep.
I thought we were constantly one block away, one cut away, one press the right way away, one execution of a block away. Bad football team. You know what I mean? The more and more we watch it, good football teams are just never a play away. They're 6, 8, and 4. You might be good enough. You might be good enough at line back there. And boy, is he back there quick.
Yeah, we can't see much on this. It looked like some type of counter, I believe, just the way somebody was, if I'm not mistaken.
Concern for me as a quote-unquote fan.
Or it might have been the next one. Maybe not. I think it might be the next play, but regardless.
But he's back there. And boy, is he back there quick.
Yeah, Justin Hill was active, man. Back-to-back, really nice plays.
1, 2, 3. It's an attached tight end. I bet we're in 12 personnel. We're out of pistol. Defense is going to produce a 50 down front. They're going to put 5 downs, 2 wide 9s. That's what number 8 is. All right. So he gets out there, boom, sets a hard edge. And look who's already behind the line of scrimmage. That's number 4. He's the Mike linebacker. So here would be my thing. If I were trying to judge growth of the offensive line, first and foremost, run-throughs, guys that just run right through the line of scrimmage, that is a massive, critical, big-time red area negative for the offensive line coach. Not just the offensive line coach. Your job as offensive line coach is to get 5 hats on 5 hats. So, and the most important 5 hats, by the way, the guys who can impact the play now. That's who we are attempting to block. And Mike run-throughs, which we're going to see multiple of them. Okay, Luke Metz got one right here. We're about to see old QB Peoples blow somebody's face up on a very similar play. So something's going on with these blow-throughs in the run game. I don't have the film footage to actually give you the answer for it. I'm just telling you it's still a problem, okay? You already knew that, though. You saw the stats from your beat reporters.
This was that pick by Austin Mack. Can't really see anything from this angle, but Drake Kirkpatrick does a really nice job.
Will you look at that roster for me? Zion Gibson. That is Dre's son, right? He's a Dre bridge. In fact, if the safety doesn't pick this football off, I like 17's chances to break it up. I really, really do.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, that was a little underthrown on that pass. And again, I don't remember the coverage. This angle, I can't tell, but the way he's working across definitely felt like some type of single high safety ends up breaking on the football, doing a nice job.
Okay. It's a great high point there. by Kilpatrick Jr. Great play, go up and blow some you know what up. Good shit, 36.
All right, good deal. So sounds like Brooks and I are on the same page about pretty much everything. Again, if you guys missed my breakdown, I broke down the same video on Saturday, and literally you'll hear probably about 90% of the same things from our breakdowns, except a few more details on defense and ours. And then also, I think he kind of walked away not too impressed with the tight ends. But again, he also is going off of probably the clips that he saw. Personally, over the course of the spring, I think Josh Ford is doing some really good stuff. And I think Caleb Edwards and Marshall Pritchett have had some really nice steps in the right direction, especially in the passing game. Those two guys, the younger players, have really shown up and made some positive plays over the course of the spring. So, again, I mean, everybody has an opinion. I'm not saying he's necessarily wrong. I'm just curious when he was comparing the Alabama tight ends. I don't even know what we would consider our standard at tight end. That's like one of the few positions when it comes to Alabama that I don't even really know really like what our standard is outside of, man, recent years. I'm not talking about way back in the day, but like recent years. O.J. Howard, Irv Smith, Cam Latu, really good pass catchers, but I don't think we've had like just some like elite all-around tight end. Cam Latu was pretty damn balanced. I mean, he did a lot in the passing game, but was pretty damn physical in the run game too as a converted outside linebacker to tight end. So I don't know. Maybe you guys have an opinion on that. That said, I think that'll do it for us today. I know we were going to try to break down tape. We pretty much just kind of just were going off of the film guy, but I'm glad to take y'all's requests. If y'all have any ideas or anything that you would like for us to break down, I want to start doing more of those videos. I want to know too, do you prefer if we do it live or do you want us to just post something? If we do it live, I need to figure out a time. That way we can get as many people in here and plan on doing that. But definitely let us know down below. If you guys are new here, if you guys don't mind, hit that like button. That helps us out, helps push the content, helps us get even more things going and brewing up over here on the content side. Definitely subscribe if you guys are listening via X. I know we got a whole bunch of people on X, like 250 plus people. Head on over to our YouTube channel. We do this Monday through Friday. You guys can watch on X or on YouTube, but we post extra content on YouTube. Plus, of course, we are live on radio Monday through Friday as well, 11 to 1. And yeah, had Coach DeBoer on today. Tomorrow we got Clint Lamb of Cover Crimson joining us during the show. We'll break down 8A even further with Clint. You guys know he likes to really go into depth about a number of things. So we'll do that with him. Plan on getting Ryan Anderson, former Alabama linebacker, on here as well this week at some point. And we're going to keep on rolling as we, I guess, wrap spring up Thursday, final practice for Alabama. That said, thank you guys so much. One last big thank you to everybody that supports us, all of our listeners, everybody that said congratulations, all that for the award from the Abbeys, Best Sports Talk Show Media Market Alabama 2026. Thank you guys seriously so much. Really appreciate all y'all support from our listeners, our partners, everybody involved, man. You guys are absolutely awesome, and we appreciate each and every one of you. That said, I'm going to get out of here. Hope you guys enjoy the content. We'll be back for even more in the future, very near future, tomorrow, right here on the Miller's Edge. We'll see you guys then.